What's up, Duelists? This last weekend was RBET4, the last online RBET of the season. Now, as most of you know who were watching, Challenge did crash on the first day of the tournament, so we had to do the entire Swiss bracket on Sunday. Thank you to everyone who was patient about this issue. Thank you to everyone who was understanding with the mods and the judges, and thank you to everyone who still worked to make this a good event. Particularly the mods and judges who we worked with. They're amazing people. Give them a thanks in the server if you're there. And if you want to join the server and play in these types of tournaments, really big Yu-Gi-Oh! Discord in the description below. Okay, back to what I was saying. Since we had to do everything on Sunday, the top 8 games had to take place sometime on Monday and Tuesday when the top 8 players were available because it ran pretty late. These tournaments are pretty big. There was a lot of tournaments in this event, even considering the bracket crash, so yeah, it did run pretty late, and so the players had to play out their matches. I have all I have all the top 8, top 4, and finals matches in replay form for you guys here. I have not watched them. We're going to watch them together live in real time and figure out exactly what's going on here. I also have all of the deck lists. I'm going to be sharing all the deck lists as we watch these games. We're going to be watching them really in depth. And then one last thing is, if you are going to RBET Orlando this upcoming weekend, make sure you are signed up. The signups are literally almost full, so if you haven't already done this and you're going, do it literally now because it's going to fill up probably by the end of this video. And also a large majority of you people who watch multiple videos and don't subscribe, so make sure you're subscribed. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the matches. This matchup is going to be versus Snack and yugioh. Now, a little bit of backstory from these players. Snack is the organizer of the Deck Devastators tournament. Maybe some of you guys have heard about it. It takes place in the EdisonFormat.com Discord. She recently won a European online tournament, and she's been very, very in-depth working on this Rescue Cat Plant Synchro deck. We're going to take a look at her deck list here real quick. This is her deck list. It's 42 cards. She's got the full Cat Synchro package, as well as Debris, Dandelion, Lonefire, Titanial. So all of the squad is here to play. Chaos Sorcerer, Mind Control, Mark of the Rose, Tech, really cool. 3 ways to take the opponent's monsters. Main deck compulsory to deal with annoying things like Absolute Zero, Catastor, etc. The full extra deck, double Pot of Avarice, just a swagged out deck profile. It's really cool to see players in Edison format succeed with their pet deck. And it just goes to show that familiarity with your deck list is really all it takes to get yourself to a topping performance. The player matters, the player matters a lot more than the deck they're actually using in a lot of instances. And this is hopefully a deck I intend to see more of. This is the very first top 8 for the card Rescue Cat in all of the RBETs. So that's pretty impressive. Good stuff to Snack. She will also be playing at RBET Orlando next weekend, so maybe a player to watch. And then, of course, yugioh is on a fan favorite, Blackwings. I love this deck personally. His list looks very solid. He just has all of the cards that you'd expect to see in a Blackwing deck with double Legacy of Yatagarasu. His sideboard looks like all of the cards you'd expect to see in the sideboard. 1 DD Crow hanging out there, pretty interesting. His extra deck looks very standard, and honestly, that's all it takes. I mean, this is a great aggressive deck. It's a very skill-testing deck. If you make one mistake with Blackwings, it's usually enough to cost you a match. So, yeah, good stuff. Let's go ahead and hop into the match. I feel like in this matchup, Blackwings is favored. Generally, against Dandelion strategies, Blackwings does better. So, let's go ahead and hop into it. We're going to watch it. I think because we have so many replays, I'm going to bounce between real-time and fast-forward time. But we'll see. Maybe I'll show the hands. Maybe I won't. Honestly, let's just show both because we're going to see one of them anyway. Okay, so on yugioh's side, he did win the dice roll. He opened up Double Book and a bunch of monsters. Snack opened up Gores, Caius, Heavy Storm, Chaos Sorcerer, Airbellum. Opening up these Airbellums is obviously one of the biggest issues with playing Rescue Cat. That's probably part of the reason why Snack elected to play 42 cards as opposed to 40, just so she draws double brick as little as possible. This hand is very good because of Gores into Caius into Heavy Storm. These 3 cards are usually good enough to beat Blackwings on their own. Let's see what the draw for turn is. It's Bottomless Trap Hole. So yugioh, he should know what type of deck he's playing against just because, the tournament's been going on. But he probably doesn't know the exact list. He's going to start off with just set Bottomless and pass. Snack should also know what deck she's playing against here. Now, Snack can do a couple of different things. She can Heavy Storm, summon Airbellum, or she can summon Airbellum and just attack. I think if I'm Snack, I'm summoning the Airbellum and just attacking. Why am I doing that? Why am I not activating Heavy Storm here? Well, first, your Airbellum is your worst card in your hand. And the way you lose to this Blackwing deck is from their back row being good. Let's say this Airbellum summons and connects. It gives you a ton of information about the back row, that it's maybe a Royal Oppression, that it's maybe this or that or whatever. Now, that is one line of thinking. Additionally, Snack could just wait because she did draw Mind Control. So she now has a conversion for the worst card in her hand, which is Airbellum. She could just pass the turn. She doesn't really need to do anything. If GGBO sets any more back row, that Heavy Storm is looking exceptionally juicy. If GGBO gets frisky and starts attacking, Snack can drop that Gores and then convert into Caius or go for the Mind Control Airbellum play OTK next turn. So we'll see what happens here. It looks like Snack is going to go for Summon Airbellum. Now, like I said, I do like summoning the Airbellum and not using the Heavy Storm because trading your Airbellum with the back row is actually favorable for you. It also tells GGBO that you might not have this Heavy Storm. And so he might be more likely to set multiple back rows into this. I do like this play, but it does make your Mind Control worse. So I think passing here was also an acceptable line from Snack. She ended up going with that. Let's see if GGBO wants to get aggressive now. I think his best play here is just summon Shura attack. He could also special the Gale first in order to play around Gores, but then you're kind of exposing your Gale if they don't have Gores. And you also don't know that she has Gores because she did summon the Airbellum. But here comes that Gores. That's going to hit play. And now GGBO's got a decision to make. Like, how much does he commit to this back row? He's going to special summon the Gale, and he's just going to Black Rose Nuke. This is a good play. This is actually a really, really good play. Just keep the Gores out of play. Keep Caius off your back. Yes, you do trade 2 for 1, and you lose your Gale and your Shura, but you ensure that the Shura hits the graveyard for your Blizzard. So you can make up for that -1 later on with the Blizzard +1. And you can also set a Book of Moon here if you want to. Now Snack picks up Dandelion, and her hand looks considerably worse. If you'll notice, the Mind Control no longer has a conversion. The Caius no longer has a great way to get live here. The Heavy Storm can hit the back row, but you don't really care about the back row because you don't have any plays. So you're forced to hold the Heavy Storm, and the Chaos Sorcerer is looking deader than ever. She needs to find one of her, I believe, only 3 light monsters in this entire deck. Well, 4. The main deck Cyber Dragon. That is something I hadn't noticed. Yeah, she has 4 main deck light monsters, no charge of the Light Brigade, so only 4 main deck light monsters to get this Chaos Sorcerer live. Technically, Rescue Cat can find one of them as well, so that's 5. But it's not looking good. I'll just say it's not looking good for this hand. This hand is pretty bricked. So, yeah. Sets Dandelion passes. That sure is going to have a heyday. Let's see if GGBO wants to get aggressive with an Armed Wing even. It looks like he does want to at least put up multiple monsters here. And this is a way to play around a set Raikou. This is the most conservative play into your most common set, which is Raikou. But if Snack had Raikou, it's very likely she would have set it turn 1 instead of summoning the Airbellum, but we don't really know that. This play works out the worst for GGBO, but it also plays the best around the most that is in Snack's deck. So I understand and respect this play. I think it's probably the smartest play, and I would recommend making this play more often than not. Like, you would only ever go like Armed Wing swing in if they were a little bit lower. I think 6,200 is just a little too high. You can make an Armed Wing now if you want to threaten those tokens, or you can just leave both monsters in play. It doesn't really matter. The Solemn Judgment being a draw is insane for GGBO because it basically means that he's safe from either Caius or some other crazy shenanigans that are happening here. But for some reason, he elects not to set it. I think there's really no reason not to set the Heavy Storm, or set the Solemn Judgment here. Because if you get Heavy Stormed, you get absolutely blasted. You get absolutely owned. And if you get Caius here, you also get absolutely owned. So there's really no reason not to set the Solemn Judgment. Here comes Heavy Storm, chain double book, target both monsters. Now, I don't actually like chaining books here from GGBO because putting your monsters face down, while it does play around brain control, it does represent that you don't have Kalut in your hand. You would leave the Blizzard in attack position if you did have Kalut in your hand. So now Snack has a tell that Kalut isn't in GG's hand. And I think giving up that information may inform Caius decisions. You may now banish the Shura instead of banishing the Blizzard like you would have been forced to do if there was a potential Kalut in hand. So here comes Caius, and like I said, it's going to banish the Shura. Not setting that Solemn Judgment, definitely punishing GGBO here. Like, a really big error. I think there was really no reason not to set the Solemn there. Having double book down, just exposing yourself to that really nasty 2-for-1 is not great. Caius is going to be able to attack over the Blizzard. And GGBO picks up a D Prison, which is going to be an out to that Caius. but he's just in kind of a tough spot. Sets the Shura, sets 2 back row, and passes. Here comes an Airbellum off the top. Now, if I'm Snack, I'm probably just playing the Mind Control straight up. Maybe not. I'm probably playing it just to guarantee I can stick my debris into Stardust Dragon through Icarus Attack. I think that's what I'm doing. Yeah, because the Mind Control does have that Airbellum. It does have that conversion. But I think it's probably best to go Mind Control and just try to stick the Stardust there. Let's see if she does it. She doesn't. She actually just attacks. Runs right into Deep Prison. Yeah, that's going to be pretty unfortunate here. I probably would have gone for the Mind Control and then tried to stick a Stardust. Either way, the trade is going to happen, and she's going to still have the Mind Control. But I would have played around Icarus Attack. It is better for her here. Passing is probably never the move. I think you still go for debris and try to make a Stardust Dragon. I think passing is never the move here. Not using your normal summon feels very incorrect. Here comes Shura, attack the token, and then pass the turn. Now she's kind of in a spot where she has to debris Black Rose, in which last turn she would have, at least tried to stick a Stardust or something. I don't know. She could also just Mind Control and then go Airbellum attack. There's a bunch of different things you could do here. Normal, Airbellum, Mind Control. This is poor sequencing for a lot of reasons. She should have Mind Controlled first to play around Icarus Attack. But either way, it's... Basically, he would have been forced to Solemn the Airbellum, which would have stopped this Shura from getting an activation here. So it's poor sequencing. If there is an Icarus Attack, you trade 2 for 2. You want to play through the Icarus Attack by Mind Controlling first. And if there's not an Icarus Attack, then it's better to hold the Airbellum. Like, let's say there's a different stop, like a Bottomless Trap Hole. It's going to hit your Airbellum. Like, you're playing around Bottomless, which 1 is already gone, and there's 0 Icarus Attacks gone. 2 Book of Moons are also gone. So it's like all the cards you're playing around by summoning Airbellum first, or most of the cards you're playing around by summoning Airbellum first, are gone. Solemn Judgment and Icarus Attack are 4 punishes versus 1 Bottomless. So you're taking a 20% chance that it is a Bottomless by summoning the Airbellum before using Mind Control. So it's just a mistake in sequencing, I think, at least. More often than not here, it's better to Mind Control first. No matter what, this Mind Control was going to get owned by Solemn Judgment, but Solemn Judgment would have been forced to hit the Airbellum. And let's say GG goes Solemn Judgment on the Mind Control up front, then you don't even have to summon the Airbellum. You could summon Debris Dragon and just Black Rose blow up the Shura if you want to from that position. Or you could go something like Ancient Fairy in defense, try to get a light active for your Chaos Sorcerer so that you can claw your way back into this game. As it stands, this is going to be really hard for Snack to come back from, just because of that one small misplay here. She does have Call of the Haunted. She can use that to bring back Gores or some shit, but that's going to be difficult to play through the Shura. I think, yep, and here comes the Vayu. Snack's going to call Gores here, which is fine. Main phase 2, normal summons the Kalutes, and can synchro off with this Vayu and the 2 monsters to make an 8-star, either a Silver Winds or a Dark End. Dark End's going to be able to pop the Gores, leaving Call of the Haunted in play. Now this situation for Snack is actually pretty interesting. She can go Black Rose, run over the Dark End, or she can go into Ancient Fairy Dragon and crash with the Dark End to turn on her Chaos Sorcerer. Let's see what she wants to do. Finding Solemn Judgment makes me feel like you want to go for Black Rose, run over. And I'm pretty sure that's what she's going to do. Yeah, she's summoning the incorrect Art of Black Rose Dragon, which is, for such a pillar of the community, using this artwork, it's disappointing, to say the least, Kappa. But yeah, she's going to attack over the Dark End Dragon, and then she is going to set the Solemn Judgment. Here comes Sirocco plus Bora. This is very dangerous because it does threaten the Black Rose Dragon. Basically, Snack is forced to Solemn the Sirocco. But that is tough because she Solemns it, she drops to 3,000. And then that Vayu does become live because that Shura resolved. So it's all rotating back to that Mind Control sequencing on that one turn. That is costing her quite a bit. Sirocco gets summoned. Bora gets special summoned. Solemn Judgment is going to hit the Bora as opposed to hitting the Sirocco, which is honestly not the worst choice here. I would have probably elected to Solemn the Sirocco, but this isn't too bad. I mean, you're leaving the Sirocco in play so you can run it over. It's the same outcome, but you take less Pierce, I believe, in the instance. The reason I would have solemned the Sirocco is if they had set Icarus attack, but maybe she was thinking she can just solemn the Icarus attack anyway, so it makes a little bit of sense to wait here for the Bora or the conversion. I think solemning on Sirocco plays better around the second Kalut, though. Here comes attack over a token and just pass. Debris Dragon's going to be the summon. This is going to be able to make Stardust Dragon, and this isn't quite lethal damage. I think this is a missing lethal from Snack. What she should have done here was make Red Dragon Archfiend, because that's 3,000 damage and 400. So 400 over the Sirocco, and then 3,000 direct, which obviously is 3,400. GG is at 3,200. Let's see if he can top deck something to get out of this situation. An Icarus attack, not going to do it. Black Whirlwind, not going to do it. So we are going to go to game 2. A defensive, Armed Wing, run over the token, set the back row, try and garner some more information. Here comes Pot of Avarice. So information is being given somewhat, but you had to assume Pot of Avarice was in this deck anyway. Like, that's not like you're learning anything new. Let's see if Snack wants to go for this Rescue Cat. There really is no reason not to just do something else as well, I believe. Rescue Cat activates. Here comes Airbellum Raikou, going to make Bryonic. Activate Pitching Sorcerer, bouncing the Armed Wing, attack with everything, and that's going to be game. Okay. Snack, I think, could have done that in a way that gave up less information. She could have just bounced the back row with the Bryonic, and then not given up the information that Book of Moon was in her deck, or not given up information that Chaos Sorcerer was in her deck. She could have held one of those two cards as a way to play around the back row. Alternatively, she could have just gone into Yugioh Guardian, and then she has 3 lethal threats, and the opponent has 1 back row, and no sweeper stops them through Stardust. So, yeah, I think Snack probably should have just gone Yugioh Guardian and given up less information there. A little bit of a suboptimal sequencing, but I don't think that information is going to matter too much. Let's go ahead and look at their side decks to see what they would side in this matchup. For Snack, she has double Trap Stun and Dust Tornado, as well as Starlight Road. These are all considerations. Book of Moon is also fantastic. So is Smashing Ground. So I think you have at least 7 cards you could consider here. The cards you probably want to side out: Titanial isn't the best. Lonefire Titanial isn't the best. Debris Dragon sometimes isn't the best. Dandelion sometimes isn't the best. In general, your whole plant engine isn't that great. But if you side out too much of it, like, your deck kind of falls apart. Like, you have to side out your Mark of the Rose as well. So you can't really afford to side out, like, Titanial, Lonefire, Dandy, Debris, Mark of the Rose for, like, a bunch of non-monster cards. Because then your deck just becomes saturated with non-monster cards. Your Gores becomes worse. Your Raikous become much worse. Your Avarice becomes worse. Your Foolish Burial no longer does anything. So I don't think she can really afford to side out that entire engine, but I have to imagine some amount of that engine is coming out in this matchup. If I was her, I'd probably be looking at siding out maybe Solemn, Brain Control as well. These 2 cards are not very good against Blackwings just because you have to pay those life points. And oftentimes games do come down to a very thin life point margin versus the deck that can pierce you. Looking at GGBO, what he can sideboard in this matchup, he's got double Royal Oppression in his sideboard. He's got double Deck Dev in his sideboard. He's got Pulling the Rug, which works against Debris Dragon, Summoner Monk, and Caius. So 5 juicy targets for Pulling the Rug. Fossil Dyna and DD Crow. His whole sideboard here, honestly, is fantastic. You could bring in literally all 15 cards here, and it probably wouldn't be wrong. It just depends on how many cards you want to take out in this matchup. Against these types of decks, as Blackwings, I like to side out Brain Control. Doesn't do much against Hamster Raikou or Titanial. It also doesn't do much against their big pushes like Drill Warrior, that sort of stuff, if she's playing that. I like to side out Book of Moon sometimes. Same thing. It doesn't really do anything against the Raikou engine, which is like what you're trying to deal with. It can stop synchro plays, but it doesn't really do much against Titanial, which is the most annoying card. Titanial plus tokens plus back row can be really annoying for this deck to deal with. So you want to side out like targeting cards if possible. I think you usually side out some number of Legacy of Yatagrasu, maybe 1 Vayu. There's a bunch of stuff that you can side differently in this matchup. Bora is great in this matchup. All of your monsters are great except for like Vayu specifically. So yeah, it's just depends on which back row and which spell cards you want to side out versus this deck. Let's go ahead and see in game 2. We have a very similar hand from GGBO. Both Book of Moons remaining in his main deck. So very interesting. Very interesting to see this. He does get to go first. He's going to lead on set Vayu, set Book. Double Lonefire in hand. So it looks like Snack did leave in a large number of her Plant Engine cards. She's still got double Lonefire and Debris Dragon in her main deck going second, which is very interesting. Let's see if she goes for that Titanial play. She does. No, she's going for Mystic Tomato. Maybe she sided out Titanial. I still think it's always best to summon Titanial if it is in your deck. Even though she does have that follow-up Lone Fire Blossom, next turn drawing Tomato instead of drawing... well, first off, if you summon Titanial here and GG has Bottomless, you can chain Book. So your Titanial is safe into Bottomless, into Mirror Force as well, which is very nice for you. And then if GG doesn't have Bottomless, it's so much better to have Titanial out of the deck and Mystic Tomato in as a potential draw. It's possible she sided out the Titanial, so we don't really know for sure, but it's definitely better to go Titanial here. We're going to see a set Bottomless, and that's going to play nicely into Icarus Attack, pretty much, if that is the set. It's not, but it would play into Icarus Attack pretty big here. I think we're going to see Shura get summoned. There's Bottomless. No Book of Moon getting used is interesting, but it makes sense. You book it, but then they'll just run it over with Tomato, and you don't have the Blizzard conversion yet. It looks like GG did leave in his Legacy of Yatagarasu, and honestly, I'm just curious what these players sided out, because we're seeing a lot of cards that I had anticipated would be sided out in these types of matchups. Legacy getting set here. 2 back row is always very threatening from Blackwings, and that's why I really do like Legacy of Yatagarasu, especially in these like stripped down pure versions that are not playing Dark Refer, they're not playing Morphing Jar, Spear Reaper, some of the techs we've seen in recent lists. Let's see what's happening here. Normal summon Lone Fire, and now she's activating it, trying to go get Titanium. She grabs it in defense position. So yeah, I think, again, there's really no reason to grab it in defense position here. You have Book of Moon. You want to force the Mirror Force. Titanial's going to run into Mirror Force no matter what. So I think you just want to force the issue. Summon it in attack position. Deal 4,200. If you can connect for 4,200 here, then you're pretty much winning. It's resolved through potential Royal Oppression. Bottomless Trap Hole's not getting used. You know he's playing some number of D-Prison. You know he's playing some number of Icarus Attack. The new set could potentially be Icarus Attack. It could potentially be Solemn Judgment. Didn't want to Solemn the Lone Fire and drop too low. Take another 1,400, drop to 26, something like that. I think you definitely summon the Titanial in attack position here, and you just swing into Mirror Force. And if they have Mirror Force, you either eat the trade or you book your Titanial and you just say, like, okay, deal with this again. You could also even book your Tomato to hold field for your Caius as a way to force a Mirror Force. But as it stands, like, your opponent's just going to take 1,400. You're not really forcing anything, and you're just giving them too much time to find ways to deal with your board here. Book of Moon is going to be useful at defending your board, which is something to know, but I still think that this is a little bit too passive of a play. Legacy of Yatagarasu going to get used. There's another Shura. That Shura is going to be perfect. Summon the Shura, attack the Mystic Tomato, try to get Vayu. Summoning the Bora as well doesn't make a whole lot of sense because this Bora is not really doing anything other than just attacking whatever the Mystic Tomato summons. Here comes Book of Moon on the Shura. Let's see if the Bora wants to attack. It does. I really don't like this attack simply because if Snack plays another Tomato, then you know she can just grab it and then Titanial's still killing it. And if she doesn't play another Tomato, you're just giving her access to her Sangan or to her Summoner Monk. So I really don't like this play. And you don't really have a great way of interacting with Summoner Monk here. So, yeah. Here comes Sangan. Sets Book of Moon. So 2 Book of Moons are set now. Here comes Caius the Shadow Monarch. Caius should target Shura here. Looks like it's going to target Bora. I like targeting the Shura. Because let's say the back row is like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying. I think targeting the better monster is always better. If the back row stops you from killing it, you want the Shura to be gone, not the Bora. So I think that, like, if you're assuming the back row is real, you definitely want to target the Shura here. Sangan's going to get a search, and Sangan's going to search Rescue Cat. Very intriguing to search Rescue Cat here. Let's see what's in her deck to see if there was anything else that I might have wanted to search instead. Now, if she did side in her DD Crow, that would have probably been the best search. One of the few ways that that GG is getting back into this game is through a card like Blizzard or Dark Arm Dragon or that Vayu that's chilling in his graveyard. Otherwise, he's pretty much shut out of this game. That being said, I don't expect her to side in DD Crow versus Blackwings. So it's possible that that card's just not in her deck. Outside of that, both Lone Fires are gone, which is one of the high value targets. Summoner Monk is potentially the best, but she has no spell. to utilize with the monk. So searching cat kind of just gets her to the raw thing. She already has a Raikou, so searching hamster or Raikou seems superfluous. I think that searching cat is definitely the most live and most actionable card to search here with the Sangan, so makes sense. Goes ahead and attacks the set monster. Book of Moon used on Caius. Now, it's very interesting here that Snack let this Book of Moon resolve. If I was Snack, I would have negated this Book of Moon with Titanial, simply because you need to get that Shura the fuck out of here, basically. The Shura is going to flip, it's going to run over the Caius, it's going to get another value for GG, if he has one, and then it's going to make either, if it gets value, it's going to make Catastrophe, which outs the Titanial, or it's going to get a Gale and make Armor Master, and then Armor Master is going to deal with the Titanial too. So your Titanial trading 1-for-1 for Book here is much better. It potentially stops your stops the Catastrophe from coming down, just ending your shit. So yeah, just food for thought. Here comes Dark Arm Dragon off the top, which is going to be an insane draw here for GG. What he can do is actually just summon the Blizzy, Synchro into whatever, Goyo Guardian, steal the Titanial, special summon Dark Arm Dragon, and this game should be over. Realistically, a very powerful draw. Gonna activate. Looks like he's going for this very safe play. He did leave in his second value. I am stunned. I literally don't know what he sided out, but I guess we'll figure that out. Synchro's into Catastor. That summon activates. Here comes another Synchro into Bryonic, pitching the Sirocco, targeting Titanial. Titanial negates. Here comes Dark Arm Dragon after the value activation. This seems terrible. Like, obviously you have Book of Moon to defend it from like a potential Black Rose, but I feel like this play is really bad. I think this was probably the worst play GGBO could have gone for, because he went for everything before, like going for everything in main phase 2 just exposes you to potential like Sweeper Debris Dragon. Like if Snack has like Space Typhoon, Debris Dragon, you lose your whole board, or Heavy Storm Debris Dragon, you lose your whole board, or Cold Wave Debris Dragon, if she plays it, which you have to assume she might play it because she does play both Cat and Debris Dragon, so Cold Wave is on the table as well. And then on top of that, there's probably a bunch of different post-board ways to maybe force this Book of Moon as well. So yeah, I don't like blowing your whole hand here for basically no damage. Here comes the Trapstone Chain, passes the turn. There's a Starlight Road. Unfortunately for Snack, she's basically forced to go for Debris Dragon this turn. She could, in theory, go for Rescue Cat, make Catastor, run into Ally of Justice, trade, and then survive one turn, and try to draw into Heavy Storm to guarantee that Debris Dragon goes through. But I have a hard time feeling like that's optimal. I feel like if I'm Snack, I'm saying I'm going to go Debris Dragon. They probably have the out. Ah, man, that's tough. That's tough. This is a tough one. This is a really, really tough situation. You can't really go... You could go Android and run over the Armed Wing, but then the value makes Armor Master, and even though you're at 8,300, any normal summon kills you, but I think any normal summon kills you anyway, even if you go Catastrophe or trade, right? Well, I guess maybe not. Yeah, I think any normal summon kills you anyway. So yeah, just go for the Debris. Here comes a book on the Debris, and that's going to be probably lights out for this one. Yeah, Kaloot being the draw means that you can just banish both Graveyard and you can attack for lethal. So a very lucky Dark Arm draw from GGBO, and very lucky that Snack didn't have a way to clear that last back row, basically. I think Snack played really weird with her back row. I think the Caius targeting the Bora was a mistake. I think there was just a lot of like microtransaction errors that could have added up to a better position here, but it all stemmed from GGBO playing his hand a little bit weird there at the end and giving the opportunity for this Debris Dragon Black Rose nuke. I think had GGBO played his position a little bit better, this Dark Armed would have been a checkmate no matter what happened with the early sequencing there from Snack. But definitely some places that could have been made a little bit differently from both players. Let's see what happens in Game 3. Yeah, I believe this is lethal. Yep. So we are going to Game 3. Snack says that was a crazy turn. It was a crazy turn, but it was also not an optimal turn in my opinion. But it's enough to get it done. The opponent didn't have the sweeper. You didn't get punished for your mistakes. Opening hand from Snack, you have Trapstone Road, you have Gorz Caius. Honestly, this is one of those hands where you're just like, man, do I set Trapstone? And I think Snack should. I think she should just set Trapstone and pass. I don't think she should do anything else. Set Trapstone and pass is like, if they attack, you can drop Gorz, you can Trapstone drop Gorz. And if they don't attack, then you're big chillin'. And then you have Trapstone for next turn. Alternatively, you could set 3, but then your Gores just look silly, or you could set nothing, but then your Gores looks too obvious. So I think just set Trapstone and pass is like the best way to get value out of that Gores. Looks like she's going to set 2. This is kind of a mix of both worlds, but this does expose you to not being able to ever use the Gores ever because you have tokens in play forever. So I don't love this play. I think this play is like, honestly, I generally think the Dandelions should be sided out in this matchup. At least one of them should be, if not both of them. But also this play is like just locking your Gores in hand, basically securing pierce damage at some point from GGBO on that second token, unless you find a way to get double Caius. If you're going to set the Dandelion, then you should set the Road as well. There's absolutely no reason not to set the Road as well here if you set the Dandelion, because your Gores is just never being active. Like, it's just never being active at this point because of those tokens. So, yeah. Set value, set Icarus. Pass the turn. Here comes Sacrifice for Caius. I'm like 99% certain. Here comes Chain Icarus attack. Here comes Chain Trap Stun. But this would have been a Chain Road here, and it would have been a much better position for you. As it stands, this position is worse. It's just worse. You would have still had your Trap Stun too. But, I mean, you get 2 tokens, so can't really complain about this too much. It's going to be a little bit difficult for GG to come back from this position, even though he does have a very nice hand for potentially being able to do that. Here comes Caius attack for 2400. Set the Starlight Road and pass. Nobleman of Crossout, pretty bad draw here because Snack has no real way to turn that on in hand. Here comes Sirocco. It's just going to attack the Caius. I actually dislike this play, but it makes the most sense. You just want to get that Kalut in the graveyard. But this is gonna be a difficult one, I think, for GG. He doesn't set his Knock to bluff anything. I would have set the Knock to play around potential Trap Dust Shoot. Trap Dust Shoot is another one of the cards that Snack could have sided out in this matchup. And also Nobleman of Crossout can maybe bait something like a Space Typhoon or a Caius activation on it, or it could make Snack a little bit more hesitant to Caius your Sirocco here if you set a back row and bluff in Icarus. I think that that's something that you definitely have to consider as GGBO, setting the Nobleman of Crossout here. Here comes Sack for Caius, target the Sirocco. That's going to put GG down to 2 darks and shut off his value, but it shouldn't matter too much because Blizzard will put him right back up to 3 darks for that Dark Arm Dragon next turn. And let's see if Snack wants to set that Typhoon as well. She probably does. Just as a way to make her back row live into Heavy Storm. It's going to get her punished here because Dark Arm Dragon's going to clear it all. But alas, here we are. Here comes Blizzy. Blizzy's going to make Android. 99% certain. I guess we're specialing the Bora first. The Bora is going to pierce the token, most likely. Oh, this is strange. I wonder why we're doing this. I would have made Android. I would have special Android. I guess maybe baiting Bottomless. Yeah, I guess this baits Bottomless. So attack the Caius. Now attacking first is definitely wrong. You should special summon Dark Arm Dragon. If Snack has Torrential or Bottomless, she is 1000% using it on Goyo Guardian. So there's really no reason not to use Dark Arm Dragon here. You're only risking a potential wave like your Kalut hitting the graveyard at some point in the battle phase. And you're also missing damage and potentially running your Goyo Guardian into Battle Trap. So I don't like not special summoning Dark Arm Dragon here. This monster heavy hand from GG has been really good at dealing with the 3 spell and trap interactions that Snack has. Snack, once again, you'll see Gore's the Emissary of Darkness, one of the best cards in this matchup. Potentially not even getting used this entire game due to the way she positioned herself. Titaniel is an unlucky draw, but again, like I mentioned, probably want to side out some number of these plant cards. They're just not that great in this matchup. And you have the Cat Engine plus the Avarices to like make something happen. I don't know. Here comes set Book Pass. Dark Arm activate, target the book. Chain Book on Dark Arm. Can just flip summon the Dark Armed, and this is game. So, yeah. He says unless you have Gores, I guess. Gores can't stop this through Dyna. So, very powerful game for GG. He had Dark Armed in games 2 and games 3. And I think definitely some decisions to make differently between Snacks and GG's gameplay, both games. Something about playing into back row, something about reading certain things, something about all of the ins and outs of what's happening here. Definitely could have could have been assessed and played differently, and potentially different outcomes. So, like I said at the beginning of this, player stuff definitely matters a little bit more than even drawing broken, as you can see. So, very good games. GG's going to move on to top 4. Let's go ahead and hop into the next top 8 match. This is going to be Best Yu-Gi-Oh! Player NA versus Riptype. Now, a little bit of background. Best Yu-Gi-Oh! Player NA is a powerful player from, I believe, Hawaii. I might be wrong about that. But yeah, really cool player, really cool guy. He's been grinding Edison format since YCS Pasadena, actually since before YCS Pasadena. He's a day one supporter of the format, day one player, big fan of the zombie deck. He is playing Zombie Hero, and Riptype is playing the deck that most of you guys are probably clicking on this video for, which is the Roids Machina deck. Let's take a look at their deck list before we get into this match. This is Riptype's Roid Machina deck. Now, you guys are probably not familiar with a lot of these cards. The way these cards work, Drill Roid, when it attacks a defense position monster, before damage calc, it destroys that monster. So the monster will flip. It's similar to Aaron, but it just clears defense position threats, basically. And then Express Roid is I believe it has like 400 attack or something like that, 800 attack, something silly low. It's a 4-star machine. When you summon it, you can add 2 Roid monsters from your graveyard to your hand. So it's an auto +2 on the summon. And then there's Armor Roid, which is the 8-star Roid monster. And basically what this deck is trying to do is find Machina Fortress and then use Armor Roid as a repeatable monster reborn to spam Machina Fortress as much as possible. And then use Express Roid to buy back your Armor Roid, which is the 8-star monster reborn for your Machina Fortress. So Express Roid, when you summon it, it basically draws you 2 monster reborns, which is a very strong card if you think about it. He is playing Limiter Removal, a card I'm a big fan of. He's playing a lot of ways to defend his Machina Fortress from getting hit by Bottomless, Compulsory Regeki Break, Book of Moon, Lila, Raikou Hamster to be able to mill not only the Roids to set up for your Express Roid and your Avarice, and honestly milling Machina Fortress to set up for your Armoroid, but also to clear those Bottomless and those Deep Prison for your Machina Fortress so that the spam game plan does work out well. I really like this deck list. I think it looks very tuned. Riptype is a player I had the pleasure of meeting at the Xanadu 1K. Really nice guy. I have nothing but great things to say about him as a player and as a person. And so really exciting to see this deck top, this new build, this new fresh sauce. This is really, really cool. In the sideboard, we got double DD Crow, Kaiku Soul Release, a lot of graveyard hate, and then double Dyna to help fight against, I'm assuming, Cyber Dragon as well as Gores. Neospatian Grammel, great card for these types of archetypes, helps you deal with battle recruiters, which Machina Fortress can struggle with. DD Warrior Lady as well, which Machina Fortress can struggle with. And then Shadow Mirror, Trap Hole for Blackwings, I'm assuming, Value Turbo, that sort of stuff. D-Prison, just an additional removal spell. I'm not a big fan of siding D-Prisons in general, but maybe there's a matchup where he just wants to bring in that extra removal spell. I don't know. Maybe he just needed a 15th card. Starlight Road, Dust Tornadoes, Nobleman. I generally think that siding D-Prison is worse than siding a hateful card for a specific matchup. Like, whatever you're siding D-Prison in against, you should just side a more hateful card for that matchup. Because you're not siding it in a bunch of different matchups, if that makes sense. You're only siding it in like 1 or 2 matchups. So you might as well just side something even more hateful than Deep Prison. And then looking at Best Yu-Gi-Oh! Player NA's deck list, he's got the full suite of Divas, Triple Diva, Triple Pyramid Turtle, full-on zombie package here. He's got Spirit Reaper even. He's got the Zombie Master. He doesn't have the Illblood, which I like. I think not playing Illblood is a genius move from him. And then one thing I absolutely adore about this deck list is his one-of suite of power cards. He's got 1 Book of Life, 1 Miracle Fusion, 1 Return from the Different Dimension, and then 2 Gold Sarks. This is something that I think zombie players in general should adopt. Gold Sarcophagus is insane with Pyramid Turtle and Spirit Reaper. It's basically free. When you activate a Gold Sarcophagus, your opponent feels the urge to need to attack you. And they're going to play into your battle recruiters. They're going to play into your turtle. They're going to play into you getting everything you ever wanted out of it. So I really like this deck list. I think this is a very clean, very tuned looking deck list from Best Yu-Gi-Oh! NA, Best Yu-Gi-Oh! Player NA, and he's got all of the sauce. He's got Future Fusion, which can send Stratos plus Mizuki to fuel Gaia, or it can send Stratos plus Pyramid Turtle to fuel Gaia. It can send Malicious plus Diva to set up for an absolute 0. He's got all the extra deck monsters you could possibly want. And then in the sideboard, what I really love about his sideboard too is in order to complement those 2 Gold Sarks, he's got 11 one-ofs that he can search for. No, not 11, 13 one-ofs he can search for off of Gold Sark. So he can basically access whatever card he wants in whatever matchup. And I just really like that, how the Gold Sarks give him extra access to any one of these tech cards. What a beautiful looking deck list. I have nothing but nice things to say about this deck list. So let's go ahead and get into their match and see what happens, because this is a hype top 8 match. This is something that this is a matchup that I honestly don't know who would be favored. I want to say that zombies should be favored, but it's hard to tell, right? Because Machina Fortress can be really good against Bionic pushes, but it's pretty bad against like Pyramid Turtle. So it's just weird. I guess we'll find out. Opening hand from Riptide, he's got Lila, he's got Torrential, he's got Caius, so he can maybe set up a Lila summon, hope to mill Fortress, figure something out that way. He draws Heavy Storm, so his hand is a little bit bricked, but Lila could turn it on if it mills a Fortress. He could also just set Torrential and pass and just chill for a while. I kind of like setting Torrential and passing and not hoping to get lucky with these Lila mills, because you're basically just praying that you hit Machina Fortress. Was he playing Plague? I don't really remember. He is playing Plague, so you're basically hoping you hit one of your 3 Machina Fortress or Plague here off of these 3 mills, which I don't really like going for. I like holding the Lila till there's a target for it. I like saving the Torrential. Maybe he's thinking Lila won't ever really need to resolve because I have Heavy Storm, so getting the mills early is important, but again, I like holding it. That's just me, though. He sets the Torrential, End-Phase mills 3, and he not only hits Plague, but also hits the Fortress, so absolutely rewarded here. Absolutely rewarded. Stratos, the draw from best Yu-Gi-Oh player NA. You have to be pretty happy about this draw. Now, if you're best Yu-Gi-Oh player NA, you're probably Heavy Storming before summoning your monster. Looks like he didn't want to do that, though. I probably would have Heavy Stormed here just to guarantee I clear the Lila. Because if you can't clear the Lila, then you can't set back row, and then all of a sudden you're looking at dying next turn. Straight up. You're just looking at dying next turn. So here comes Stratos, search Evil Guy. That can set up for the Caius next turn. The 1-turn Caius next turn. But I absolutely would have Heavy Stormed here. Because if the back row stops the Stratos, you're looking at potentially getting OTK'd. Because Tempest Magician plus limited removal is dangerous. Stratos is going to attack over the Lila and just passes the turn. Here comes Book of Moon off the top. Now, if you're Rip type, you just pitch special the Fortress. Don't make it too complicated. Run over the Stratos, pass the turn. Don't think about things too much. Gold Sarcophagus, the draw, but a little bit too slow here, unfortunately. If you are best Yu-Gi-Oh player NA, you're kind of forced to go Heavy Storm now. And then special Evil Guy. Okay, never mind. We're going to go Zombie Master, Steel Plague. Okay. Maybe that Plague Spreader being down is a liability, but what are we pitching here? I was thinking you would special the Prodigy and then sack it for Caius and then banish the Machina Fortress. Because as it stands, like, this doesn't really ladder into anything substantial. Like, you can go Goyo steal the Fortress, but that is much worse than banishing the Fortress. And I think you're okay losing Zombie Master, Diva, or your second Caius in order to just make sure this Fortress gets banished. That could just be me, but I think that's probably the better play. He's going to pitch Steal the Plague, Synchro off into Goyo Guardian, steal the Fortress. The Fortress is going to blow up the Goyo Guardian, but you do get to keep the Fortress, so there's a little bit of a trade-off here. Let's see if best Yu-Gi-Oh player is even going to use the Gold Sark. I probably would, because this is still a game. He's going to search for Dark Arm Dragon, which is, I think, his best possible search. Nah. I probably would have searched for something else. I probably would have searched for Miracle Fusion because you have Diva and Evil Guy, and that's an OTK. Or not Miracle Fusion, sorry. Future Fusion. Yeah, Future Fusion, because then you can go Special Evil Guy, Normal Diva, grab the other tuner, and then Armory Arm OTK. So if you survive 2 turns, it gives you an Armory Arm OTK if you search Future Fusion here. And I personally think that that's better than searching Dark Armed, because all he has to do is just like clear this Fortress with any normal summon, and that's like really bad for you. Set Mirror Force. He draws the Future Fusion anyway. Wow. Okay. So maybe he was onto something that I was not onto. Maybe he was corrected by something that I was not corrected by. Here comes a Mirror Force. Main phase 2 going for the Future Fusion. Sus. Very sus. How do we like this line? So we're going Future Fusion. Normal Diva makes Stardust. Set up Stardust Future Fusion with Dark Arm coming next turn. Okay, that's probably good enough. That's probably good enough. Not using the Malicious. I would have made Stardust, but I understand that, like, Crash Machina Fortress is bad for you. But it forces the Crash Machina Fortress, I guess. And the next turn you get Dark Arm Dragon. But I guess this is fine, too. Yeah, this is probably better. Because of Crash Machina Fortress, but The hand looks tough for Riptide. He's basically forced to go Storm, Set, Book. But he does neither of those things, so he just dies. And just, that's tough. That's going to be tough. You special the evil guy here. Normal Diva. Get your other Diva. Banish Special Malicious. Synchro into Colossal Fighter. Special Dark Arm Dragon. Synchro into Armory Arm, and that's an OTK. Okay, we're going to miss Lethal. Interesting. I believe that is a missed lethal. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, it's definitely missed lethal. If you special the evil guy first and you make Armory Arm, does he not have Armory Arm in the extra deck? No, he does. He does have Armory Arm in the extra deck. He does have Colossal as well, so yeah, he's just missing game here. That's a tough one. I wonder if that's going to cost him. I guess we'll find out. It's going to go ahead and banish special, synchro into Colossal, and yeah, this is not lethal. There would have been an Armory Arm in play here as well had he specialed the evil guy first before specialing everything else. But he got a little too trigger happy here. As it stands, I actually would have made Stardust instead of Colossal. Just because 3100 is not that good. And you want to protect all your stuff. You have Absolute Zero coming next turn. You know, once you've already made the mistake, I think going for Stardust is just a better backup plan. So, yeah. Attacks with Dark Arm next. There's really no reason not to. Like, what if he has Gores, you just blow it up. Like, it's free. Set the Torrential and pass. Yeah, I don't know if I like setting the Torrential here, actually. I think you just hold the Torrential. Yeah, I think setting the Torrential is like, they have to clear your board. Like, you're never activating Torrential to clear your own. Maybe you are, I don't fucking know. When would you activate the Torrential here? Like, if he just goes summon Machina Fortress, which is his way of clearing your board, basically, like, I don't know. Anyway, Gores being the draw is not, it's not what you want here. I'll say that much. It's just not what you want. You have to Heavy Storm. You have to bring out Plague, sack for Caius, target the Colossal Fighter, and then run over the dad with Book of Moon. Okay, but you are not quite dead, actually. That's really crazy. You run over the Dark Arm Dragon with Book of Moon. Caius banishes the Caius, and then you drop Gores in defense position off the effect burn. Oh my gosh. You don't get a token here. You get Miracle Fusion, but this still doesn't beat the Gores. Oh, I guess it does, because you can go for Gaia. Did he have an Earth? He had the Goyo Guardian. When did he make Goyo Guardian this game? Oh, he made it to steal the fortress. That's right. Well, that is going to be game one. Actually, Miracle Fusion into Gaia. I did not see that line. Interesting. Okay. Best Yu-Gi-Oh player NA almost throwing game one, but had a very, very powerful sequence of draws, you know. Dark Arm plus Future Fusion plus Miracle Fusion in a row. That's pretty solid. And Goldsark pulling its weight, doing exactly what it was designed to do. That limited removal, the card I said I liked, rotting in Riptide's hand, kind of silly. But once again, in these types of matchups where you don't get a lot of opportunities to attack directly, it can be pretty tough. Now let's go ahead and look at what they're going to be sideboarding in. For Riptide, he's got double DD Crow. He's got Kaiku Soul Release if he wants them. I think the DD Crows are the optimal ones, but the Soul Release and the Kaiku are also fine. Having seen the Malicious and the Miracle Fusion, Kaiku is probably pretty good. Dyna has a lot of application. Gremlin also has a lot of application. That Shadow Mirror has a lot of application. I think that those are pretty much the ones you're looking at. Maybe Lightning Vortex, but again, Lightning Vortex. Honestly, Lightning Vortex is one of the strongest cards in this deck because of the Express Roids and Machina Gear Frame giving you a free discard for it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Lightning Vortex come in just in almost every single matchup just because of how strong it is in this deck. Lightning Vortex is also potentially a main deckable card in specifically the Roid version of this deck, which is something we might even see moving forward. And then, of course, looking at Best Yu-Gi-Oh! Player NA sideboard, he's got that Cyber Dragon. Only one, but he does have that one. The issue is he doesn't have Chimera Tech in his extra deck. So even if he does side in that Cyber Dragon, he's not able to clear Machina Fortress. So he's probably not even going to side it in. I think he's going to side in the Dyna and the Vanity's Fiends as ways to keep Machina Fortress from coming down. He's probably going to side in I don't know what else. Prohibition on Machina Fortress is actually pretty strong in this matchup, so maybe he sides that in as well. And it's possible he goes for a Royal Decree game plan here, but I think he should notice that his trap cards are very integral to him winning this matchup. So I think he's probably not going to side those in. I think he's just going to side in the Vanities, the Dyna, and just keep it pretty straightforward. Maybe the Crow as well, as a way to potentially snipe Machina Fortress at certain moments. We'll go ahead and see. We'll go ahead and see in game 2 what they sided in. It looks like he did side in that Crow, and he did leave in his trap cards his Return and his Torrential, as well as this Deep Sea Diva. Now, this hand is very bad, but he does have Torrential to buy himself a lot of time. That being said, Typhoon and Raikou are going to make it very difficult for best Yu-Gi-Oh player NA to have that time. Gores can stonewall the Machina Fortress in defense position, but it's a stalemate situation, which is kind of exactly what best Yu-Gi-Oh player NA needs, is a stalemate situation here. That being said, another Raikou and a D-Prison will make it that if he gets too aggressive with the Gores, he's gonna not have the time he needs in order to win this game. I am curious why Riptype set the D-Prison here. Why did he do that? Well, Goblin Zombie, that is a good reason to set it, and Stratos. Potentially you don't want your Raikou to hit a Stratos here, so that makes sense. If I'm Riptype, I'm honestly considering summoning Gearframe turn 1. And here's the reason I'm considering summoning Gearframe turn 1. Pulling the rug is the number one reason. Now, these players have already played in Swiss. I believe... Did they play in Swiss? No, maybe they didn't play in Swiss. I don't remember. I'm thinking of a later match. I don't know if they played in Swiss or not. So I don't think Riptype has the intel on whether or not best Yu-Gi-Oh player NA has Pulling the Rug in his deck post-board. So I think that Machina Gearframe being summoned turn 1 is much better just to play around Pulling the Rug. And then for the rest of the game, your hand doesn't lose to Pulling the Rug, and you guaranteed your +1, and you're also guaranteeing that you don't have to use D-Prison on a Stratos, which would be really annoying for you here. So I think that there's a lot of reasons to summon Gearframe turn 1 here. There's a lot of reasons. Setting Raikou, probably not the best opening play. You usually want to set Raikou when it has the high value targets. Now, I don't think he's going to get punished for it because there's no Pulling the Rug, A, and B, best Yu-Gi-Oh player doesn't have a great way to play into a set Raikou here other than summon Diva, attack the Raikou, which I doubt he is going to do. The way I see this hand going is I see it going set Torrential Tribute and pass. Royal Decree with Gores in post board is a little bit sus, and Royal Decree with all of these other trap cards in post board is pretty sus. Normally you want to side out, like, I would side out probably like Torrential in this matchup, Return in this matchup if I was bringing in the Royal Decree. Because Return is, while it is a good card, if you have a Royal Decree face up and you top deck a Return in the mid to late game, you're going to feel pretty bad about it. Whereas if you have a Royal Decree face up and you top deck one of your monsters or one of your spells, you're going to be much more happy about that circumstance. So yeah, he's just going to set the Torrential and pass. Kind of what we predicted. Avarice being the draw is normally great here, but that DD Crow is going to trade with that Avarice at some point. So let's see what happens. Probably just Raikou flip. No, he's going to go Typhoon first. Now, I think Raikou trading with the back row is the best case scenario for you. I don't think you should Typhoon here. I think you should save the Typhoon. Even though the Typhoon is narrow and hits the Torrential Tribute. That being said, with the Raikou set, he can now pretty freely play into Gores. He's going to go ahead and summon Gearframe, search Fortress, pitch Special Fortress, I'm assuming is happening. And yeah, damage is happening. A lot of damage is happening here. That's half of best Yu-Gi-Oh player NA's life points gone. So using that Typhoon and getting aggressive here is very good for him. Now, if you're best Yu-Gi-Oh player NA, you had to drop your Gores there. Not dropping your Gores there is a concession, in my opinion. So, not dropping the Gores, there it is. He's dropping the Gores. He recognizes the situation. He's like, no, I got to drop Gores here. Now, even if the Gores gets popped, the token can stonewall this field. So, you're in a situation where it's not too bad. That's going to mill 3 more cards. No monsters being milled, so that Avarice is like super far off from being live, but can't be upset with that. I mean, that's just like the game you're playing. Dark Arm Dragon being the draw isn't bad. You only need 1 more Dark here to get him live. You can activate the DD Crow pretty much whenever you want to. I think if you're best Yu-Gi-Oh player NA here, your plan is just set 2 back row and Turtle. Let's see if that's what he does, and that's exactly what he does. Armoroid being the draw is really good for Riptype. It will help him summon his second Fortress out of the graveyard. He's going to switch to Raikou, set the other Raikou, and just pass, I'm assuming. Yep. Miracle Fusion, tough to draw that with no hero, no earth. He does have the water, but yeah, no hero is going to make that one a tricky draw here. Back-to-back payoff cards with no setup cards. He's got a weird combination of defense and then like defense removal and no starter, basically. An interaction that's like kind of narrow interaction. It's not really beating the cards that are beating you, which is the cards in play. That being said, he still does have this 2,500 token, but I'm assuming that token's going to get popped ASAP this turn. Here comes token attacking the gear frame. He's recognizing his situation. He's going to be forced to flip decree on this, which is not great for him because now he's shutting off his own return, like I mentioned earlier, and he's going to pass the turn. Now, if I'm best Yu-Gi-Oh player NA, I'm crowing that other fortress literally right now. You got to crow it in the draw phase. If you give him an opportunity to summon that fortress back, you're looking at potentially losing the game this turn. Goes main phase 1, flips Raikou, targets the token, mills 3, and honestly, I would have chained the crow to that Raikou, hit that Machina Fortress, but here comes Machina Fortress, and yeah, the crow kind of rotting in hand, not stopping the lethal threat. Bit of an error. Honestly, yeah, just a bit of an error there. Gonna go into game 3. Maybe best Yu-Gi-Oh player NA didn't like his chances regardless, didn't want to reveal the crow. I can respect that. Opening hand, this game looks fantastic for best Yu-Gi-Oh player NA. He has Royal Decree, he has the starter, he can find Greffer, which can get him to Mali and Plague, and he has interaction, so I think this hand is very good. The hand for Riptide, on the other hand, is also very good. He has his own starter, Gear Frame, he has a way to pop the Decree, he has nothing that loses to the Decree, and he has Pot of Avarice to shuffle all of this back. So his hand is insane. Double Crow versus Zombies is just like about as good as it gets. Here we're going to see set, Decree, and pass. He's going to wait on Rhoda. I'm going to wait to maybe Rhoda for Greffer next turn to go for his big push. Play a little bit around the dust shoot, even though there is a Decree. That being said, now if you're Rip type, you can go for this Lila pop, and you can feel pretty good about yourself. So here comes Lila. Attack first. I love this play. This is such a smart play. If you're going to trade with a Battle Trap, then you might as well swing first. And if it's not a Battle Trap or something that stops the Lila, like let's say it's a Royal Decree, or a Call of the Haunted, or a Return from the Different Dimension, something like that. Some of these back rows that you know this deck plays, Space Typhoon, you get in 1,700 damage through Gore, so I really, really like this play with Riptide, or from Riptide, and he's going to go ahead and activate that Lila, blowing up the back row. End phase milling 3. He's going to hit Force and Gores, so he's basically telling best Yu-Gi-Oh player NA, oh, I'm a little bit defenseless here, go for your big push. Let's see what best Yu-Gi-Oh player NA wants to do. He's going to go Rhoda for Greffer, I'm assuming. No, he's going to play it. You can't do that. This is a fiend. He said oops. Oh, he's probably misclicked. Yeah, okay. He's going to get Stratos and then search the evil guy. Okay. Okay. Huh. What do I think about this play? So, he's not getting himself access to Plague. He's not getting his graveyard set up here with the Mali, with the Greffer. It's possible he sided out the Greffer, but I just don't see why you would side out the Greffer ever, honestly, especially if you're leaving in the Malis. Maybe he's playing around Crows. Maybe he doesn't want to overcommit into a field that he cannot protect. Potentially a Machina Fortress could come down and wreck whatever 8-star synchro he's making, so he's going for a bit of a more mid-ground play, which is Stratos grab the evil guy, and the evil guy will turn on at least one of these Kaias. So I actually don't hate this play. I think it's going to be a better play for him in the long term just because of those Crows. It's going to shut off those Crows from Rip type in terms of like them being interaction, but it doesn't get the aggression going, which I think you kind of need to be the aggressor at some point in this matchup. But maybe he realizes like, I've got mind control, I've got a couple of Kaias, maybe I can play a more passive aggressive role. He had no back row last turn, so he probably has a way to put a bunch of monsters into play and reversal my synchro monster that I make off the Mali. So it's a bit more of a passive play, and I like it too. He doesn't want to get draw locked with the Plague either. Here comes another gear frame off the top. That's 100% going to be the play here. Searches for Fortress. Now it's just a matter of if he wants to pitch special the Fortress. I don't think he does, but maybe he does. Oh, he does. Wow. And that's game. Yeah, limiter removal. So even though the limiter removal was bricked in game 1, it's going to give him a crushing victory here in game 3. Just surprise, motherfucker. Here's 8,000 damage, you know? And that's that. So Decree, probably not the move in this matchup. Probably you want to have your trap cards to interact with this sort of stuff. So, yeah, going to bite best Yu-Gi-Oh player NA there, and Roids is going to move on to top 4. So really cool stuff, really cool deck list from both players. Not a lot of decision points in this last game besides that Greffer move, and even the Greffer move I don't think saves him, because then he would be draw locked and he would be top decking nothing versus an active Fortress, etc. So yeah, I think that this was just a situation of his draw and his sideboarding pattern didn't interact in the ways it needed to in order to defend himself from the Machina limiter removal aggression. So yeah, next game of top 8, we got Light Angel versus Warlords. A little bit of background. I'm not familiar with either of these players. I have never seen either of these players. I've never played against either of these players. So I'm pretty excited to see them for the first time in an RBET top 8. Congrats to both of them for getting their invite. Let's take a look at their list. This is the Light Angels Blackwings deck list. It looks very similar to the one we saw earlier, but he's got a main deck Dust Tornado and a main deck Royal Oppression. He's got one less Deep Prison, main deck Compulsory. Pretty teched out, but yeah, only one Book of Moon instead of the 2. Basically the same sideboard as the one we saw before, but he's got a Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer and a My Body as a shield, which is a card I do really like in these types of pure Blackwing lists. And then Warlords is playing Machina Lightsworn, which is a deck that was popularized by player Times2. I think he was the deck designer for this. A lot of people worked on similar decks to this. I know both Cameron and Snack had worked on a similar deck earlier on. Just mill your Machina Fortress and then spam Avarice plus Machina Force as your Reborn engine. Instead of using the Roids, he's going straight for the Force. I think the Roids are more of a flex, but this list looks cool. He's even got the one of Scrap Recycler to guarantee you see that Fortress in order to make your game actually work. It's just an additional starter that turns on your forces if you open with multiples of those. I like that decision as a 41st card here. Triple Hamster, triple Raikou. That's ambitious, but it does get your Avarice on almost ASAP. 24 monsters. He's got Plague and Triple Fortress for his good mills. The sideboard, he's got double Vortex. Once again, Lightning Vortex, one of the most powerful spell cards in this format, as long as you can support that discard, and these Machina-style decks can absolutely support the discard from Lightning Vortex. So, no limited removal here from Warlords. More of a straightforward, like, good card sideboard plan than the Express Roid deck, but let's see how it works out versus Blackwings for him in his match. I think the matchup here favors probably Machina Lightsworn. Yeah, probably. Now, both players are not playing in the classic mode, which is frustrating. But alas, here we are. Light Angel opens up with one of the most powerful cards in the format to open up with going first, Trap Deshu. But the rest of his hand is a little bit passive. He does have that Sirocco Bora push, but I think we're looking at set 3 turn 1 and just pass. I don't think there's really anything else to consider except for maybe set the value. He may set the value, honestly. He could set the value and look to tribute summon it for his Sirocco next turn. I think that that's probably fine as well to keep your Icarus attack live. So I think it's set 3 set value as well. And then on Warlord side, he does have a very good hand. It's pretty resilient to the Dust Shoot. However, the information loss is going to be pretty difficult for him to sort of play through. I think if you're Light Angel, you just take the Hamster and then you intend on Icarus attacking through the cores, and then it should be a pretty easy path to victory, depending on what is drawn, of course. Here comes set 2 pass. Doesn't set the Icarus attack. I think that that's a mistake. I think you should just set the 3. Here comes the Dust Shoot. Gonna look at the hands and take the cores, because even if there's a Heavy Storm here, it's still just a 1-for-1. It's like not that big of a deal. And you get to draw a new card. It's like, okay, you baited the Heavy. Now for the rest of the game, like, your back row is live. Now if he just like summons something, it's annoying for you. I don't really like taking the Gores. I think taking the Hamster is better. The Hamster turns on the Pot of Avarice. That being said, he's most likely just gonna Icarus attack the Hamster and not give him an opportunity to flip it. So we'll see what happens here. It's probably just set Hamster, set back row pass. Yeah, and the back row is going to be that Book of Moon. Here comes flip value, set Icarus, pass the turn. There was no reason to flip the value there. There's actually no reason to flip summon it. You're just giving your opponent information on what deck they're playing. Going to main phase, letting him go to main phase is a mistake. You should absolutely Icarus attack this Hamster in the draw phase, letting him get the Raikou out of his deck, get a card towards Pot of Avarice, and get another like high equity target towards the Icarus attack is not good. I think this play is completely an error on Light Angel's part. I think he's played this opening pretty poorly, in my opinion. Here comes the Raikou, and that's going to attack with the value. Here, forcing the Icarus attack, going to hit the back row and the Raikou. Now the Icarus attack could have popped the Hamster, but you know it's going to be forced here. And now the back row gets chained on the Hamster, and all of a sudden, like, you Icarus attacked for basically no value, which is bad. Like, the Raikou was free. You traded an Icarus and a value for just one Book of Moon. That's a pretty poor trade. That being said, he does still have full information of the 3 cards in hand. Warlords does have his normal summon here. He can elect to commit a Raikou or a Scrap Recycler. If I'm Warlords, I'm absolutely committing here. I'm summoning one of these cards ASAP. You want to get your Pot of Avarice live. Let's see what he does. Main phase 2, we set the Raikou. We don't set the Force. I dislike this. I think you should absolutely set the Mirror Force. I think there's really no reason not to. Like, what are you playing around? Honestly, what are you playing around? He didn't have the Icarus attack in the back row last time. So he's not going to have it in the back row this time. I think that not setting the force here is a clear misplay from Warlords. There's really no reason to hold it. Here comes Legacy. That's going to pick up Compulsory. You're just going to have to shove your monsters into these monsters now. I actually dislike attacking with the Bora. I think Sirocco running over the hamster here is the best play. You get the third Raikou out of the deck, and then you could honestly go Sirocco Bora and pump the Bora and get the damage too. Yeah, I just think this play is an error, but he has the resources. Light Angel has the resources to deal with this -1, so it's not the end of the world. And there's gonna be another Raikou unless he draws it. Maybe Warlords is hoping that this Raikou mills the third Raikou, but there is that Pot of Avarice. If it mills the third Raikou, he can just Avarice the Raikou's back. So I don't really like this line. I think he did mill the third Raikou. Wow. And he also only has 3 monsters. So that's very unlucky because Scrap Recycler now cannot set him up for that Pot of Avarice. Incredibly unlucky mill. And Light Angel's not really punished for his mistake here. I think that this is a poor play. I think Sirocco running over the hamster or running over the Raikou is the better play. Raikou's forced to hit the Sirocco. And then you still have that Bora left over. And then you have the Vayu and the Sirocco play for next turn as well. So I just think that this is a high risk, low reward play. Sets back row passes. Here comes Machine of Force. Scrap Recycler can send Machine of Fortress here. That being said, do you like bringing it back in the dark? I almost don't. Again, setting the Mirror Force last turn would have been so good for Warlords. There's really no reason not to set it. But yeah, I don't like bringing this back into the back row. Like, you're just playing into potential Torrential, potential Mirror Force. Like, of course, you have Avarice, but you're also playing into Bottomless D-Prison, which are even more common than those cards. And if your Fortress gets Bottomless here, it's just so bad. Like, I feel like there's really no reason to do this. You can just set your Mirror Force at poke for 900 and, like, you infinitely threaten this Fortress. He can't deal with it. The second you find Heavy Storm or Space Typhoon, or you are able to get that third Raikou in the deck, you can clear the way for your Fortress, and then once the Fortress starts looping, that's when you start winning the game. Losing your Fortress here is so bad. You're just getting yourself 2 for 1 into Bottomless, 2 for 1 into D-Prison, because functionally the Scrap Recycler is not a card. So you're spending the Scrap Recycler and the Machine of Force to lose to Bottomless or D-Prison. I really don't like this play. I think this is very bad. Attack for 900. Let's see if he sets the Mirror Force this turn. He does elect to set the Mirror Force this turn. There's another D-Prison, so a lot of defense here. Set D-Prison and pass. Here comes Plague Spreader. Yeah, you can summon the Plague. You can Synchro to get your Avarice live, which I think is a good play. You're going to Ally, and then you're going to go for your Avarice. Yeah, you just need to get your Hamster live. You are able to leave the Plague too. You draw into Torrential Heavy Storm. So had he waited on that Machine of Fortress, he would be crushing this game. Alas, he just decided to trade his 2 functional cards for a back row for no real reason, honestly. Here comes Flip Hamster. That's going to go grab the Raikou. Here you poke with the Hamster, and then you poke with the Ally. There's no reason not to poke with the Ally. If it eats a D-Prison, then... Hold up. What is this? He took 2,200 damage. Is he going to let him do this? This is a top 8 match. Now, keep in mind, both these players, neither of them have top 8'd before, so maybe there's some nerves, maybe there's some issues here, but he took that damage. They went to the damage step. There should be no takebacks here, but it looks like Warlords is going to let him do this, which is part of the issues with not having these matches done live, is that stuff like this gets undone. But I guess they're going for a sportsmanship agreement here. Honestly, if you're Warlords, you're probably happy it's the Ally getting D-Prisoned here and not your Machine of Fortress later on. So you're probably okay with this. It's probably not the worst situation for you. And just pass the turn. You don't want to set the Torrential into your own Heavy Storm. Solemn Judgment being the draw is pretty good for Light Angel. He can set up for a counter push. Summons the Sirocco. Going to attack into Hamster, and honestly, you just let this happen. Passes the turn. Doesn't elect to set his Solemn or his Compulsory. I don't really like that. This is game 1. Dust Shoot is still definitely in the deck. There's reasons to set both of these cards. There's no reason not to set either of them. You should definitely set at least one, if not both of these cards here. Like, there's just no reason not to. I guess the Raikou blowing one up, but, like, you could just set the Compulsory. Raikou blows up the Compulsory. You can figure out what you want to do from there, but I think you need to bait the Raikou somehow. He's just not going to flip it if the Sirocco is still here, you know? He's just going to pass. Here comes Blizzy. Activate. Bring out the guy. Synchro to Bryonic. Interesting moves. Now, here's actually the correct play. I'm going to see if he notices it. He should... Well, maybe this isn't the correct play. Because Kalut should be game. Yeah, Kalut should be game. So he pitches Solemn, bounces the back row. I was going to say, if he didn't have Kalut here, he should bounce his own Sirocco first. No, that's not the correct play, is it? Because then he removes the damage. Yeah, no. The correct play is just pitch Solemn. Attack. And that should be that. So, crazy. Crazy game. Honestly, crazy game in a lot of circumstances. But it came down to this, you know, that early damage over that Raikou mattering. The Bryonic coming down and being able to do that. Playing the Fortress a little too antsy into the bottomless. A lot of different things. Letting him take back that 2200 damage. Letting him go back to the attack declaration after damage has already been dealt. That's not a professional way to play the game, in my opinion. But both these players seem to be cool with it. And yeah, obviously there's nothing we can do in hindsight about it. So that's going to be it for game one. And that's that allowing his opponent to take that back. Warlords allowing Light Angel to take that back did cost him this game. So yeah, pretty crazy. Warlords saying nice. Says betting on Gorge. Kind of greedy, to be honest. Maybe not. I think what's kind of greedy is taking damage and then taking it back. But hey, we don't need to get into that. Let's talk about what they're sideboarding. I mean, I already see some of what they're sideboarding, but let's talk about what they're sideboarding. He's got a Deck Devastation Virus to help deal with the Hamster Raikous, Nobleman to help deal with that stuff. Makes sense. Royal Oppression to deal with Fortress. And Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer as well as DD Crow can deal with Fortress as well as Cyber Dragon. This player does actually have Chimera Tech in his extra deck, so he has a shitload of good cards for this matchup. The Lightsworn Machina player has DD Warrior Lady. That's a good card here. Dust Tornado is a good card here. But not much else. Honestly, he doesn't have enough cards for Blackwings. Once again, I really don't like siding Deep Prison. I think that it's bad. Generally speaking, the way Blackwings wins is they pierce you for a little bit, and then they go Bryonic or Dark Armed, and then clear the rest of the way. It's kind of like the Disaster Dragon game plan. And in those game plans, like if you don't have Deep Prison for the first pierce, then it's not going to be live for the rest of the game because they just simply won't attack you until they have Bryonic or Dark Armed for game like he did last time. So, oops, that is the wrong match. This is the match we're watching. All right. Gear Frame, Search Fortress. I like this play from Warlords, getting the Gear Frame in under a potential rug. Did he charge the Light Brigade? No. Honestly, might have wanted to charge before Gear Frame. Charge Search Lila or something. Because it's a higher chance of milling a monster, a higher chance of milling a fortress. Yeah, now that I'm looking at the hand, that's actually a huge mistake. That's just poor sequencing on Warlord's part. He's just not going to activate his charge now as a result, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Here comes Shura Kalut, and that's going to put Catastra into play, as well as Vayu in the graveyard, and turn on that Deck Devastation Virus. This is going to be a tough one to win. I think this is going to be a tough one to win, because you have 5 cards that get hit by Deck Dev, and Pot of Avarice just plays further into Deck Dev. Set, pass. Here comes Deck Dev, activates. That's a crushing Virus. Normally, Virus shouldn't be very good against this deck. Normally, because if you look at the deck list, right, there's 3 Hamster, 3 Raikou, Card Trooper, and the DD Warrior Ladies, I guess. So there's 9 targets. Hitting 4, potentially 5 out of those 9 targets that's just very unlucky. That's just very unlucky. Plague, I don't really count as a target here. And yeah, I just think that's pretty unlucky for Warlords. Just no other way to say it. Deck Devastation Virus is a high variance card here. Sacrificing Ally of Justice there is interesting, to say the least. Obviously, he wants to play around that Raikou and not attack directly into it, but yeah. Here comes Blizzy. Blizzy's going to bring out the Shura, and he's going to attack for 1300 here, representing Icarus attack. He's going to go ahead and Synchro main phase 2. No, he's not. He's just going to set his Icarus attack and pass. Caius is going to be revealed off of the Deck Devastation Virus. This is turn 1. Pot of Avarice can be played, but I think he's just going to go for charge. Find Lila. I don't like this. Maybe I do like this. I don't know. What's he going to do with this, though? How much attack does Machina Force have? 4,600. That's crazy. That's wild. I wonder if he's going to Avarice. He is going to Avarice. He's recognizing the situation. He is going to lose this game if he doesn't draw into something good here. Let's see if he hits any more deck dev targets. And he hits 2 more. So, yeah, just really, really unlucky circumstance into deck devastation virus. And that's probably going to cost him this game, I'm assuming. Attack the Shura, main phase 2, pop the back row. Hitting the one that is not Icarus attack, most likely. End phase mills 3. Pulling the rug. Another powerful sideboard card. I didn't realize that he had that. Why did I not see that? Oh, it's over there by the crow. Yeah, totally missed that. But yeah, pulling the rug, that's going to be good versus Caius if that is forced to come down off the plague, which I'm assuming it will be. He can just attack over this Lila. He doesn't really need to risk too much. Set the rug, pass. Draw for turn is Machina Force. That's a very, very good draw from Warlords here. He can just pitch special Machina Fortress and attack the Blizzy. Now this is a misplay. This is a misplay. You should definitely pitch special the Fortress first. Because if there's a Royal Oppression, then he's forced to use it. And you're also not draw locked. This way, if your play gets stopped by pulling the rug, for example, or DD Crow, or a large number of the cards that can stop this, let's say Royal Oppression, now you're draw locked. So this loses not only to Royal Oppression, but also to literally everything else. This only plays around Bottomless Trap Hole slightly better, and it stops you from taking 1300 next turn. But I think this play is infinitely worse. Yeah, and it's going to get rugged. Pretty common to see pulling the rug. Actually, from Deck Devastators, pulling the rug was as common as Dimensional Prison in Decklists total. So this card is very common. If you're playing a Machina deck, you have to recognize Game 2, Game 3, this card is going to be in the decks of these players playing these decks. Like, that's just it. And yeah, that pulling the rug is going to be devastating here. I don't think Warlords can come back. Honestly, what Light Angel should have done here was sacrifice the Blizzard for the Sirocco and attack for 2,000. Just get more damage in. Not that it's going to really matter that much. Here comes the Force, which he knew about. He knows the whole hand. Here comes Pitch Machina Fortress, and then attacks over the Blizzard. This turn just... Huh? What the fuck? Normal summon Sirocco, brain control the Fortress, attack for game. What was the thought process there? What are you thinking about? What? Your opponent has nothing. Oh, this was a messy game. This was a messy game. If Warlords comes back from this, I don't believe it. That's crazy. Oh my god, he might come back from this. That's crazy. Never mind. Space Typhoon plus... Oh, he still might come back from this. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. Anyway, passes the turn, saves the Sirocco. I don't know why. Here comes Rug on the Machina Gear frame. Huge mistake from Warlords. Flip the Ryko, pop the Rug. What are we... You know he has rugs in. You know he has rugs in. Pop the back row first. Ooh, this is a tough one to watch. This is a tough one to watch. Now you guys are like probably thinking, Keegan, why are you being so critical? You know, there's probably nerves. This is a top 8 match. They had 2 days to play this match. They had 2 days to mentally prepare for this. This is not a timed match. This is not a match that was done on low sleep or on fatigue. This is a match where they should be warmed up and at their best. They even should probably know the deck they're playing against at this point in the tournament. So plays like this are not, you know, like there's no real excuse for this. There's no real excuse for this. This is a top 8 gameplay, you know. Taking back the play in game 1, missing the Ryko flip on the pulling the rug first there. It's just sloppy play. It's just poor play. And both players missing the lethal with the brain control. This brain control's been sitting in his hand the whole game. That's going to deal a lot of damage. And Ryko's going to blow up the back row here. Going to mill 3. Going to draw Cyber Dragon. Bring out Machina Fortress. This is going to clear the board, but I mean, you just make Chimera Tech main 2. He brain controls it and you lose. So he attacks over the monsters. Yep. Clears both. Looks like there's probably some lag here. You're fucking kidding me. This guy's playing Machina and he left Cyber Dragon Fortress in play? Like, why even show the brain control? says, give me a moment to think. He says, you have no cards, my dude. He says, yeah, I'm about to cyber to Chimera Tech, but he didn't do it. Does he not have Chimera Tech in the extra deck? Why didn't he do it? You know, if he doesn't do it, your opponent can do it. So the way Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon works is you can make it with your opponent's monsters entirely. You don't need any of your own monsters, right? Am I wrong with this? Am I wrong about this? Let me double check this. I'm fairly certain Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. I'm fairly certain if your opponent has Cyber Dragon and Fortress in play. I've done this before in tournament, so I'd hope that this is the case. Let's read this card. Let's see what it does. Let's take a look at this card's effect. I'm being gaslit by this play. It says, must be first special summon from your extract by sending the above cards from either field to the graveyard. Yeah, you basically just super poly your opponent here for free. Leaving them in play is just forfeiting. What? It doesn't matter because he has brain control. Anyway, neither player knew this. Top 8 gameplay. Wow, that's crazy. That was a messy match. That was definitely messier than the previous ones, but you know, a lot to learn here, a lot to take away from this. This matchup, I think, is a cool matchup. That deck Devastation Virus was crazy. I did not expect it to do that much work. Missed lethal all around, missed opportunities in a lot of different places, missed sequencing in a lot of different places, and definitely could have gone either way. Once again, the deck choice not mattering as much as the plays, and you can definitely see that here in the finals. All right, or not finals, but the top 8. Let's move on to the final top 8 match, which is going to be South City Duelist, previous RBET winner, versus M. Kozarski. M. Kozarski is a newer player. He's not a newer player. He's a strong player. He's a player newer to the RBET series, I should say. I've never watched him outside of this tournament. Very nice guy, very polite, messaged me after the tournament, was very, very kind and just very supportive, and I have nothing but nice things to say about this guy. And this is kind of one of those meta matchups, the matchups you expect to see, which is Diva Hero Beat versus Blackwings. Now, South City Duelist, he's a big fan of Upstart Goblin. He won his RBET with Upstart Goblin in his Blackwing list. He was also not playing Brain Control the first time he won RBET. This time, it looks like he has elected to play that Brain Control. I wonder what has changed. I wonder what has changed in his mind. He's got double oppression in the main, no Legacy of Yatagarasu, just all active trap cards. Sideboard, everything you would expect with double Threatening Roar. He did mention in his deck tech that Threatening Roar was for Dragon Turbo. Check him out, South City Duelist, on Twitter. Let me get you his Twitter at. He tweets about some Edison stuff every now and then. Hold up. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to find his Twitter at really, really quick. Just because, like, I feel like, you know, you gotta plug the players who are doing the thing. Plug the players who are doing the thing. His Twitter is at StoviedL. That's STOVIEDL. And yeah, he posts his deck list there. He talks about Edison there, so yeah, check him out. And then yeah, Kozarski's deck list. Nothing to see here really. I mean, it's a pretty straightforward deck list. The one thing that stands out is the main deck Compulsory. I think that card is very good in this deck. This deck is good at shoving damage. It can deal 3,700 Stratos Alias turn 2 very consistently. So I think having the Compulsory and the second Gilman also, you know, something that that some players don't play, some players do, but looks like he is playing it. Now this matchup, if you are Kozarski, this is your dream matchup. This is like what you want to face in top 8. You get into top 8, you built this deck specifically because of its matchup against Blackwings. So you want to play against Blackwing players. In Swiss, Kozarski did lose to, I believe it was the Machina player. I can't remember which one it was, but he lost to one of the Machina players. You don't want to face the Machina players if you're playing Hero Beat, because Machina, it has a field day with Hero Beat. It just runs the deck over. Like, it's not close. The matchup is very, very bad for Hero Beat. So him dodging the Machina, the two Machina players in top 8, very fortunate for him. He's got a dream matchup, but can he convert it? Stevie's a really, really strong player. I believe Stevie's a SoCal player and just really, really accomplished and talented duelist. So we're going to see some very strong technical play, I'm assuming, from this game. Kozarski does win the die roll. He does have that e-call for Stratos if he wants to go for it, and I have no reason to believe that he's not going for it here. You just want to get it down. Turn 1, go grab that Alias. And now you have 3 back row with the Solemn. I mean, there's really not much to think about in this hand. You just set 3 and pass. I think that's like the safest thing. Yeah, you just pass. Says he's lagging a bit, but no issues. Now, South City Duelist does have that Space Typhoon, but it's not quite a heavy storm to play through this back row. He's going to shotgun that upstart, I'm 100% certain. And he's going to find Brain Control, which is a solid draw here. Now, if I'm South City Duelist, in order to play into this back row, your best line here is probably just like summon Gale, have the Stratos, attack the Stratos, or don't even attack the Stratos. Set Icarus, set Typhoon. Try to set up a position where you can blow up as many of these back rows possible while having chainable stuff as a way to blank Gemini Spark. You're in the defensive position here, so that's something you have to think about. Another thing you could go for is just blind Typhoon, try to hit the road, and then go for Brain Control on the Stratos and make a Synchro, or go for like Black Whirlwind or whatever. Let's see what he ends up doing. He ends up going blind Typhoon, and he does hit the bottomless trap hole. So after seeing bottomless trap hole go down, you're probably thinking to yourself, man, there's a good chance my Whirlwind plus Bora resolves. Let's just try that. And honestly, if I was him, I would try it. Let's see what he does. The conservative play is definitely Gale have, and it's ultimately the better play, but you don't know that he has another summon stop, basically. So he summons a Whirlwind, activates the Whirlwind, and that's going to be Typhoon on the Whirlwind, and that's going to be a little bit difficult for Stevie to stomach here, because now there's a Solemn for the Icarus attack. The Bora can't get over the Stratos unless he specials the Gale, which he's basically forced to do here. Special the Gale? Yeah. See, the issue is, your opponent set 3. You know that one of them is probably Road or Solemn. That's it. You know Icarus attack is going to get you Roaded or Solemned here. You have to special summon the Gale. You have to have the Stratos, and you have to try to clear it. You can special summon the Gale in defense to play around Mirror Force, or you can special summon the Gale, have the Stratos, Brain Control it, and Synchro. But not doing anything is just a straight up choke, in my opinion. But maybe he's hoping to bait the last back row, and I don't know. I just legitimately don't know. I think he's just dead lost here. Because once Alias hits play, then you have to worry about Spark, you have to worry about Hero Blast, and this Brain Control and this Gale are just doing nothing. You're just bleeding cards at this point, and you have to predict that his last back row is a protection spell. Like, that's the only reason he would set 3 there. Normal Alias, attacks the Bora. Here comes Icarus attack. That's going to get Solemned. You're going to take 1 billion damage, and the bottomless trap hole is going to hit play, and it's just going to be impossible to come back from this. Not impossible. I mean, Gale Brain Control is going to do something here. You go Gale, Brain Control the Alias first to play around Spark. Run over the Stratos. Why not summon the Gale first? I feel like you summon the Gale, have the Stratos just to deal more damage, but I guess he's playing around like Mirror Force. But I think you want to get the Armor Master in play ASAP, just because you have value. Naturally, that's going to lose to the second bottomless, but like, let's say it is Mirror Force. Let's say it is Torrential. You want to get Armor Master in play so that your value actually does something. So I think that not going for Armor Master is wrong. I guess you're playing around Deep Prison versus Mirror Force. Yeah, I don't know about all this. Yeah, this is probably correct then, I guess. Plays around Deep Prison the best. Runs over the Stratos. Here comes Gale. Here comes Armor Master, but that's going to get bottomless. And yeah, no, that's probably best, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, because triple Deep Prison is very common in these decks. So that makes sense. Compulsory is going to be the draw. This game's over. Yeah, this is exactly why Hero Beat outclasses Blackwing in this matchup. You trade your back row effectively 1-for-1 throughout the entire game, and you just have more cards because you started with that guaranteed +1 going first. And yeah, you just had to know that the Icarus was going to get stopped there. So you had to make more of an effort on that turn where you specialed the Gale, and where you could special the Gale, and yeah, getting Armor Master in the grave to make this top deck value good would have been insane. It would have been so good for Stevie, and not getting aggressive with his Gale there was for sure a mistake. Draws Royal Oppression. That's just not doing anything. Here comes End Phase Compulsory, and that's lethal. I actually don't like End Phase Compulsory there. It does play around Icarus attack, but it doesn't play around Deep Prison or Mirror Force, and you've already seen one Icarus attack, so I think it's better to go for the Compulsory on Attack Declaration. This game, South City Duelist is going first. Bora the Spear in hand, not one of the best cards in this matchup. Mirror Force, Deep Prison, and Icarus attack also in hand. All high value cards. Dark Arm Dragon's one of your best cards. Let's see what the 6 draw is. Heavy Storm. Really awkward hand. You just have no starter that doesn't die to Stratos. So yeah, just set. You're going to set the Mirror Force and pass. I don't know about that one. I feel like it's set Icarus and pass. Or set Heavy Storm. Because, like, now, let's say Kozarski goes E-Call Stratos attack. Set 3. Like, you have to Heavy Storm your own Mirror Force. Like, you're not Mirror Forcing a Stratos attack. You're not. You're just not. It just isn't something you're doing. So, set Heavy Storm. Try to get your value out of this card. You know what I mean? It's not going to matter because he has Solemn Judgment, so it doesn't fucking matter. But Yeah. Here comes Ocean attack. Like, you have to Mirror Force this Ocean. That's terrible. Like, it's better than Mirror Forcing a Stratos, but it's like, bruh, you have to Mirror Force this Ocean. It's something you could have attacked over with Bora had you set the Heavy Storm. This is absolutely the opportunity to set Pro Heavy. Not Mirror Force here. Definitely a mistake. Future Fusion, Absolute Zero, sending the 2 cards. Set Solemn Judgment, passes the turn, sets Call of the Haunted. Heavy Storm's going to activate. You know what's happening here. And, dude, come on. You left Dust Shoot in versus Diva Hero? They play 6 monsters. This guy's going to have 4 back row the majority of the game. Not only that, but the whole game, you saw how the game went last time. The resources trade, the cards diminish, and Dust Shoot doesn't take Miracle Fusion, which is the card you care about. So I really don't like this sideboard choice, and I really don't like that opening from Stevie here. I think it's gonna punish him quite a bit. End phase Call of the Haunted, that's gonna bring out the Ocean. Ocean's gonna add back the Alias. Just really crushing situation here from Kozarski. He's absolutely dominating this game. I think, he's had less decision points because he's opened up better cards and he has the matchup advantage. But Stevie definitely had room to get advantages in this matchup and just chose not to go for it. The Dust Shoot is going to be live, but it's trading for a free card here. So it's like you're just losing a card for no reason. It's going to take the Alias. This is just Gilman summon, attack with both. Could also have been Diva summon here, but you're getting Absolute Zero next turn. Putting your opponent to 4,800 is great. And you can make a 4,000 0 next turn by grabbing Gilman, and that's just game. Here comes Sirocco off the top. Lucky pressure from Celsius Duelist. Not pressure, but lucky reversal. Actually, not lucky reversal. I would say like he needed to draw a monster this turn. Fortunate top deck. Shura would have been the best card here, by far. Shura definitely would have been the best card, but you'll probably take Sirocco. Sirocco runs over one of the monsters, and then you can Icarus the other 2 cards. You do have to Icarus them. Miracle Fusion being the top deck. Is there a reason to let the Absolute Zero get summoned? And also, is there a reason to use the Icarus attack over using the D-Prison? I guess you can't run over Gilman with Bora, so you kind of have to. And you don't want to bleed the life points. I'm not sure if there's a reason to let the Absolute Zero get summoned. It depends on his sideboard. What did he side in? I guess I didn't talk about what they were siding in. Probably, he doesn't have DD Crow, he doesn't have Kaiku. So there's really no way to stop Miracle Fusion from happening outside of just beating all 3 Absolute Zeros. So for his list in particular, it is better for him to let the Absolute Zero get summoned, because he doesn't have ways to attack the grave. What was sided in this matchup for Kozarski is probably just the Dust Tornadoes. You probably don't need much more than that. Like, your main deck is geared to beat Blackwings. So, yeah. Maybe the Cyber Dragons. Here comes Diva, that's going to special Gilman. Here comes Android, that's going to attack for 24. Or gain 600, sorry. I forgot that was main phase 2. Here comes Allure of Darkness, probably going to have to banish the Dark Armed. Interesting, it doesn't. Is this going to be a steal? Hold up. Dark End plus Dark Armed is game. So it looks like Stevie's going to steal it. And yeah, Dark End plus, well, not even Dark End, but Stardust also works. It is better to go for Dark End in case he has Gores, though. Because here we players, I know Cameron Saunders did play Gores in his top 8 list, so they do play it. Like, it's not a card that they might not play, so going Dark End is infinitely better, but, didn't have it, so never punished. Opening hand from Kozarski this game looks solid. You have Alias Spark, can't really ask for much more, and Bottomless, which going first against Blackwings is amazing. But Stevie does have a really powerful sideboard card in Cyber Dragon, so we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Draw for turn is going to be Diva. This is also an interesting hand because you do want to set all of these cards, but you also want to get value out of this Heavy Storm. So, like, what is your game plan here? It's probably still just, like, summon Alias, set Bottomless, or actually, no, I lied. It's go Android. Yeah, it's go Android first, set Bottomless. I think that's the play. This is risky into Heavy Storm. If Heavy Storm happens here, there's a good chance you lose. I actually very much dislike this opening from Kozarski. I think going Android while there's no back row is very good for you because you just go Android and then they have to answer the Android. They have to play into your bottomless to answer it. On your turn, Call of the Haunted has a nicer target now. It can target that Android or it can hit the Diva. You can Heavy Storm, set Call of the Haunted, summon the Alias. You can just really go crazy with the pressure after you've resolved the bottomless to stop the counterplay. So I think going turn 1 Android here is much better. And then on top of that, it gives you the opportunity to summon Alias into back row with Spark active. So you can bait stuff like Bottomless Trap Hole. As it stands now, this Bottomless Trap Hole is actually going to be very good versus Karski. Whereas if he got the Android down turn 1, Bottomless Trap Hole is completely blanked for the rest of the game as far as he's concerned. Here comes Cyber Dragon. That's going to resolve. We are going to spark the Cyber Dragon, draw into Torrential. And yeah, set Bottomless past the turn. You could summon the next Alias, but it's going to get Bottomless. So I think that's what he's going to do. And yeah, like if you look at the position, imagine having the Android down, right? Like you force him to play at least, Shura and try to Kalut over your guy or force him to play that Gale. And then if he does have the Gale on your turn, you can summon Alias into the back row and have the Spark to back it up. It just like gives you better position. And Android's in the graveyard for your Call of the Haunted. Whereas now your Call of the Haunted doesn't have a great target. So yeah, I just don't like this. I also don't like setting Call of the Haunted into your own Heavy Storm. I think this turn it's very likely you're going to Bottomless Trap Hole and then on your turn Heavy Storm summon Diva. So like the sequencing here is just so weird from both players. I don't like either of the sequencings. Yeah, see now what? You have Call of the Haunted and you have Heavy Storm. You're going to end-phase call your Alias? Like, what is the plan here? And now you can't Heavy Storm that back row without losing your Alias. It just doesn't make sense. And he's still, to this moment, not had a great opportunity to resolve this Deep Sea Diva. It's just been sitting in his hand, kind of stuck. He hasn't really been able to apply the pressure his deck is good at applying. I think this opening is very botched. That being said, it's still a neutral game state. It's still on South City Duelist to like make something happen. But his position has been much more advanced. Not attacking there is strange. I think you just attack. But like, what are you afraid of? I guess Deep Prison is bad for you. Yeah, like even if you attack and he has Honest, you still have, or Deep Prison, you still have Dust Tornado for the Call of the Haunted. Like, yeah, sure, maybe you don't want to get your Sirocco banished so your Value's actually live, but I think that's like the least of your concerns at this point. I think you just attack. It's very likely he has something like Honest. And then you trade the Sirocco for the Honest, and you could just Dust Tornado, kill the Call of the Haunted at whim. I don't know. Passes the turn back again. It draws another Cyber Dragon. And now you're just like awkwardly looking at the Sirocco. Like, do you attack now? Like, the situation hasn't really changed. Like, he could still have Honest. Normal Summon Value. There's Torrential Tribute. You're probably very happy about this if you're Stevie, because you traded functionally a card that's... You traded functionally one card for 2 cards. So it's a very happy situation. That being said, Karski still does have that Heavy Storm into Deep Sea Diva play, so he's still big chillin'. He's got Hero Blast to come back into this game, so it should be pretty easy for him to parry this situation. Gonna special summon out the Armed Wing now, feeling he is safe with his 2 back row, but he's not safe here. He's just not. Heavy Storm into Android can clear. That being said, oh, never mind. Miracle Fusion was drawn. Never mind. He just drew Miracle Fusion. So I was going to say, this is risky into Kalut, but Miracle Fusion. So you're not even risking anything. Yeah. You go Absolute Zero, attack, 200, attack for 2,400. Now you're just crushing. So even at the end of the day, the Heavy Storm Diva did just like kind of take over this game. And yeah, Stevie never really had a position to come back into this. I think had he attacked over the Alias and maybe pressured with the Sirocco earlier on, he could have maybe pieced something together, but he just didn't get a lot of value out of his cards, it appeared. Mirror Force to draw, that is a good draw, but it's going to get Solemned. So that's going to be the game. Karski drawing Solemn literally every game, I believe. Very strong card. Just in these matchups at like securing positions and securing wins. And if you're Karski, you got to be feeling pretty good about that. You got your best matchup out of the top 8 by far. You got, honestly, a very dominant victory and moves on to the top 4. Seems pretty good. There were definitely some play decisions, but I think the matchup played a large hand in Karski's victory there. He was just threatening the entire time. And he also had the better draws in his deck. Like, you have 3 Miracle Fusions, which it looks like Stevie's deck just wasn't really well equipped to deal with. Like, if you look at his sideboard, like, how is he beating a Miracle Fusion activation outside of Royal Oppression? Like, I don't feel like Stevie's sideboard has a lot of great stuff for Hero Beat besides Cyber Dragon and Dust Tornado. And you saw he drew double Cyber Dragon and a Dust Tornado, and it didn't do him any good that entire game. So, like, if you're citing those cards in and you reflect on your match and you're like, wow, I was citing these cards in and they actually did nothing for me that entire game, why am I citing them in? You know, like, why are these the cards I'm citing for that matchup, you know? Maybe you might want to consider something like Prohibition for Alias, something a little bit more hateful. Maybe in those threatening roar slots, could definitely have a Prohibition. Prohibition also covers Dragon Turbo, as well as covering a lot of other decks. It covers Frogs. You can name Treeborn Frog. And it covers the Machina deck that's been kind of killing it. You just named Machina Fortress. So I think that may be a consideration for a sideboard. I think the sideboard is definitely lacking in this area, in this matchup. All right, moving on to top four. So we have the winner of this match, Karski, versus the winner of this match, which was Light Angel. And then we have the winner of this match, which was Riptype, versus the winner of this match, which was GGBO. So top four is Blackwing, Roids, and Hero Beat. So moving into the top four matches, the first top four match we're going to watch is Roids versus Blackwings. Riptype is going to get to go second. Sorry, I almost said first, but just completely wrong. And there's that turn one Dust Shoot, you know, really strong card. Leading on the Bora. Makes sense. Stable opening. Sets the Deep Prison, passes. Trap Dust Shoot is going to activate here. And this is going to cripple this hand. This hand's just going to fall apart once it loses the Fortress. Chain Typhoon on the other back row in case it's Mind Crush. Might want to hold that, because I don't think a lot of people are main decking Mind Crush, even though they probably should be. That's another card that Stevie or other Blackwing players could be citing for Hero Beat as well. Mind Crush is insane versus that deck. Takes Fortress. Yeah, this hand just kind of falls apart. Set Plague, you're kind of forced to. Here comes Bora. Here comes Massive Pierce. Just 3,200 damage. And now you're forced to act, and the Blizzy comes down and just beats you. Issue with these types of decks is Pot of Avarice and Armoroid actually do nothing unless you have access to Machina Fortress. And Raikou is a death sentence versus the impending Bryonic situation. Yep, especially because the draw was Vayu. So now there's lethal. Just summon. You could go for game here, basically. You know the set card is most likely either Drillroid or the top deck. You know the other three cards. You summon Blizzard, you synchro into Bryonic, you pitch Vayu, you pitch Sirocco, bounce your own Bora, special Armed Wing, and then special summon the Bora back from hand, and then attack for game. So, yeah, missed lethal there from GGBO 789, but I don't think it's going to matter just because of the situation. Didn't mill Machina Fortress, and even if he had, I don't really think there's coming back from this hand at 3,200. I think he's just fallen way too far behind. Draws Regeki Break. Okay, maybe that's something. Probably not. I think your Avarice is not live. So what are you going to do here, right? You can't really afford to go Goyo into a potential Kalut. Opponent hasn't set any back row the entire game, except for the Deep Prison, so you're like, okay, he's got to have Kalut, right? Like, that's the read. So what can you do? You can set Regeki Break, and you can set your Drillroid, but then he knows the set monster is Drillroid. You could set just Regeki Break, but then you risk losing to the Kalut Pump on a different monster. So I think the only play here is to T-set and pray. Either that, or you can... Yeah, I think you just have to T-set and pray. I don't think you can... Because you can't support both a 6-star and Pot of Avarice and... Hold up. If you stack Armoroid and you synchro with Plague and Drillroid into a 6-star, and then you attack, and he has Kalut, then you can at least Avarice main phase 2. Okay, yeah. So I think you do have to go for Goyo, and I think you have to stack Armoroid. I think that's the play. Let's see if he figures it out. He stacked the wrong card. He was supposed to stack Armoroid here and keep the Regeki Break. But as it stands, this is worse for him. Yeah, I think this play is... It's not as good as going Goyo. Because Goyo, you take the Bora... Yes, you do have a defense position Bora, which is a liability for Blizzy Kalut, but you kind of just have to risk it, and then at least you have that Regeki Break for main phase 2 if they do have Kalut. And if they don't have Kalut, you still have Regeki Break, I believe. Yeah, because you wouldn't have had to pitch. You would have Regeki Break Pot of Avarice in hand. So you'd have Goyo, Bora, Regeki break with Pot of Avarice in hand versus this situation where you have Bryonic with nothing, no back row, no defense. No, yeah, I think this is definitely a mistake from Riptide here, and this is going to cost him his chances in the game, I'm pretty sure. Attacks for 23. D-Prison isn't the worst, but it's not the best because he can just go Bryonic and then pitch these two, and that's game. That's exactly what he's going to do. I'm certain of it. There's no way you don't go for this. Yeah, there's no way. Now it's an obvious lethal. The last lethal was not as obvious because you'd have to bounce around Bora and then summon the Armed Wing and special to Bora again. But this lethal is too obvious it's too obvious to miss. I think he definitely choked. I think Riptide definitely choked by not going Goyo Guardian there. And he would have Goyo Bora, right? And then you go Bryonic, priority Bryonic, you have to pitch some cards, but you pitch 3 cards and then he can chain Regeki break on the Bryonic. There's still the Armed Wing that's coming, but you survive the turn at least. Then you have a chance. That being said, we don't know how he would have drawn. We don't know what would have happened, so it's all up in the air. Game 2, let's see what these players would have sided against each other. Let's see. This is the Blackwing list. He's got double Cyber Dragon, Chimera Tech. He's got Pulling the Rug. He's got Royal Oppression. He's got a great sideboard for this matchup. Armoroid deck. Once again, I think his sideboard is a little bit lacking for Blackwings. He does have Trap Hole, which is a good card for Blackwings. But that's just about it. It's like Trap Hole, Dust Tornadoes, and really not much else. Lightning Vortex, maybe. Shadow Mirror, maybe. Yeah, Shadow Mirror's like tentatively good versus Blackwings because it doesn't stop their main effect, which is attack you for lots of damage and Icarus attack. Those are the cards you really care about. Looks like he did side in the Grand Mole. Interesting. That's probably a good side in. He's going to set Raikou, set D-Prison, and pass. Here comes Vayu, and this is going to get D-Prisoned for sure, just to play around Icarus. Wow, he's actually electing to special the Bora too. I wouldn't have specialed the Bora here, but that's just me. He's going to attack. He's going to pop the Bora, take 1600. He should take 1600 damage here. I wonder if they're going to miss that. Yeah, no, they caught it. Okay. Mills hits Crow, so he did side in the Crow. He did side in the Dust Tornadoes. I think siding in Crow versus Blackwings is ambitious. But I guess it could make some sense if the only way they come back is Blizzard. Can also shut them off Dark Armed or Armed Wing plays. Or not Armed Wing, but Vayu plays. Yeah, I don't know. Set Bottomless Pass. Here comes... I would have gone Grand Mole attack. That's just me. Because this is all sorts of wrong. You don't want to set Plague without setting the Mirror Force. Because something like this happens. Shura happens. Now, is he going to summon the Shura? Abso-fucking-lutely. Because if that's a hamster, or if that's literally anything but Raikou, and you can see one of the Raikous is gone, you're just getting a Catastor, and you're getting a Vayu in the grave, and like things just work out really well for you. Yeah, there's no reason not to go for this. Yeah, not setting Mirror Force here is just... It's a casualty. It just doesn't make sense. It's like, what are you waiting for? Like... He's going to play in. He has to play into it. And then you Mirror Force the attack, and then you can Caius the back row. And if he chains Icarus, then he blows up a Plague with Icarus, and you're probably pretty happy about that. Yeah, I think the play is either Neospatian Grand Mole attack, set Mirror Force, or it's set Plague Spreader, set Mirror Force. It's never just set Plague Spreader. This is a game-losing play. This is absolutely a game-losing play. Main phase 2, he gets a Catastor, which, to be fair, Grand Mole does out the Catastor, but... you let him get the Vayu in the grave, you know, you let him get value out of all his cards. You took a shitload of damage in the process. I just don't like this. Yeah, you bounce the Catastor. Okay, now what? Set Mirror Force? He says, lol, RBET Top Get gameplay. So the way this works is, since Catastor is mandatory, it will have to be Chainlink 1. So Grand Mole will return both. Catastor is mandatory. It has to be Chainlink 1, even though he's non-turn player. So Catastor will be Chainlink 1, but Grand Mole's Chainlink 2, and because Catastor can't, I believe, destroy a card that's not in play or something, it doesn't destroy the Grand Mole. Either that or... I don't really fucking know. Anyway, I'm pretty sure Grand Mole, yeah, this works. And they link the ruling, so there you go. Yeah. And now Shura plus double Kalut is game. So if he doesn't Mirror Force this Shura, he loses. Has to Mirror Force it. Drew his own Mirror Force. Sets Kalut, passes. I don't like setting Kalut here. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but... Yeah, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Because there's a good chance he just stacks for Plague and does something with that. I don't know. It looks like he's going to do that. Stack the Limiter, sack for Caius. chain bottomless, but you just lose your Kalut for no reason there. There is absolutely no reason to set the Kalut there, other than to stop yourself from losing like 900 life points from Grand Mole. Now you just lose your Kalut for no reason. Sets the bottomless himself. Legacy of Yada is a good draw, I think, from GG here. Just lets him dig further towards something. I don't know what. I might not have summoned the Kalut, but because the opponent is so low, I think it's pretty safe to summon it. Plus you have Mirror Force to guarantee the next attack. I'm going to set 2 and pass. Here comes Grand Mole. You just have to pass. Here comes Legacy. It's going to draw Whirlwind. You go Whirlwind, normal, search Blizzy. Okay, I guess searching Gale is the option. Yeah, because Gale is game 2. Through bottomless. Bounce the Kalut. And yeah, that's going to be that. I feel like that turn he didn't set the Mirror Force was just a throw. Like, that was a crazy game. Yeah, crazy game. And crazy match. Overall, the matches we saw on camera live were, I think, a little bit tighter. I think the players played these like in the top 4 and top 8 thus far. A lot of mistakes. A lot to learn from. A lot of educational content. The other top 4 match we've got is Light Angel versus Karski. And if you're Karski, you're probably just like screaming with joy. You're just like so damn happy that you got Blackwings into Blackwings into Blackwings. You got 3 good matchups lined up for you in the top 8 of an RBET. You're probably just like, I'm the GOAT. I deserve this at this point. And honestly, Karski's a really nice guy, and I think he does deserve to win. I actually think all these players deserve to win, but you know, there's a lot of luck there involved with getting 3 great matchups in a row in in the top 8 of an RBET. You can't be unhappy about that. Here comes set 4. Pass the turn. On this side, we've got the Icarus down. We're going to go play into the Starlight Road now. No, we're not. Smart play from Light Angel. The first heads up player to play around the Starlight Road, recognizing that his Icarus is probably not going to resolve here. Despite having answers to the Stardust, 4 of them to be exact. Yeah, just not proccing it. Sets 2, passes the turn. Here comes Diva, activate. Grab Gilman, swings, and again, if you force here, you get owned by Starlight Road. So you just have to take the damage. And this is a great play from Karski, playing around D-Prison, representing that Starlight Road yet again. And I think if you're Light Angel here, here's the game plan, right? You Mirror Force, they Road, you know, you out the Stardust, either with Gale or Shura or whatever, and then your Icarus attack is live. And then your Icarus attack is how you pull back into this game. That being said, Karski did draw his favorite card, Solemn Judgment, so he's drawn this in every single game, so he's just going to be pretty secured here. He's going to go for Android, M-Phase, gain 600, and Light Angel's not going to compulsory the Android, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but maybe it's because he thinks he can out it for free with Gale. So I think he's going to summon the Gale, and he's going to try to have the Android. What I would have done if I was Light Angel was probably lead on Shura, but this is fine too. This is safer into potential bottomless, and that's just going to run over the Android for free. So Light Angel's going to connect with his Gale. He's going to connect with everything else. Maybe a little bit trigger shy on his Solemn Judgment there. I probably would have Solemned the Gale. But, you know, Solemning the Gale, you do lose the Android to potential D-Prison, which is what you were playing around last turn. So maybe you don't want to do that. But now you're just down your only threat. You're down -1. And your position all of a sudden is much, much worse. Much, much worse. Set 2 more back row, draws Spark. Spark, Hero Blast are just completely dead cards here. And yeah, no engine is going to be really, really tricky for Light Angel to play through. Just going to attack for 1300. That being said, Karski has infinite time. He does have that Torrential, so if another card gets summoned, he can just Torrential, and if it doesn't, then 1300 a turn really isn't that big of a deal. D-Prison will keep him alive through this Gale attack. He's going to shotgun it, I'm sure. There's Compulsory to protect the Gale. I really like this use of Compulsory from Light Angel. Very heads-up play there, protecting a high-value card in Gale. Gale's one of the best cards in this matchup. It's like your MVP. It's part of the reason some players have elected to play Dark Eruption even, to reuse Gale and Blizzy in these matchups. So very smart. Recognizing that compulsory is probably not going to do that much when your opponent has no monsters. Just keep your own monsters, keep them safe, and do what you can with them. Main phase 2, I would have summoned the Shura here. Very, very big mistake not to. You want to summon it, force the bottomless so that next turn you have initiative to summon again. Now next turn you have to decide whether or not you're going to summon the Shura. And if the Shura does stick, then you play around potential top deck bottomless, which is exactly what happened here. You just want to keep that pressure up when your opponent has no monsters, because it's only a matter of time before they hit E-Call or Rhoda. Not applying that pressure, not simplifying the game state, not playing into these back row is going to cost you. It's going to cost Light Angel tempo. It's going to cost him just initiative advantage in all sorts of ways. And also on top of that, like, I mean, Dust Shoot would hit you either way, but, you know, you want to empty your hand so that Dust Shoot later in the game is going to be dead. Here comes Set Bottomless Pass. Let's see if we see that Shura. No Shura. He's just going to summon Clue. He's going to infinitely play around Bottomless and just attack for 14. Well, I like this. I like this play. I think just passing the turn. Here's another Diva. That can grab that second Gilman. We do know that Karski plays 2. And he can elect to attack here. There's going to be another Kalut activated. So big Kalut activation there, stopping the Gilman. And Kalut can't be Solemn Judgmented here, which is huge. Just playing around Starlight Road the entire game. Not using his Mirror Force, not using his Icarus. Not using even his D-Prison to play around something like Solemn Judgment, but I don't know. Interesting stuff. Here comes the Icarus attack off the top. Kalut can just run over that Diva. You know, yeah, that's going to be that. Might have wanted to Torrential that Kalut, given how much Light Angels wanted to play around this stuff. Back row locked. I guess he can play the Typhoon blind here to try and Future Fusion, and honestly, should have. Just because, like, now you're taking 1,400. Now you're just dead. To a lot. Yeah, I think you had to get the Hero Blast live there. I think you had to Typhoon blind and then activate Future Fusion in order to have a chance this game. Another Diva. Looks like he's going to try it this turn. 4 is going to hit the back row. There's the Mirror Force that he didn't play the entire game, and now you're getting Soul Red because you realize, damn, he really had everything. If you're a Light Angel, you just let this resolve. I don't think you care about this. There's the Absolute Zero. It's going to send Ocean and Alias and set Diva. Now here you are going to summon into Torrential every single day of the week. There's Icarus, and here comes the Road. Chain Legacy of Yada. Oh, he targeted his own Legacy. He targeted his own Legacy to play around Road. Very, very smart play. Very, very smart play. And that's going to hit the Solemn Judgment. And then they double check that he's drawing off the Legacy of Yadagrasu. Wow, very, very smart technical play there. Not utilizing the Solemn Judgment to keep the life points high. Set Dust Tornado. That could hit a potential back row here. DD Warrior Lady is a solid draw. It's not an amazing draw, but it's a solid draw. He has played around Road this entire game exceptionally well. I think Light Angel has played this game close to immaculately. Like, he has played this game, like, just so tight. Targeting his own Legacy there. Really sick play. Another reason why Legacy of Yadagrasu is so fantastic in this Blackwing deck. Here comes DD Warrior Lady attacking. Probably just shotgun the D-Prison. That being said, you have a good shot at just winning the game next turn. As long as you just Dust Tornado one of these two sets, probably the newest one. Oh no. You just waited. Maybe you're saving Dust for the future. That makes the most sense. Yeah, just save the Dust for the future. Here comes Blizzy. Activate, bring out Bora. Bora summon is good. Here comes Hero Blast, target the Blizzy. Here comes target 2 of the back rows. No, he targeted his own back row yet again, and then he chained it. Now he's adding back the Alias. Absolute Zero is going to hit play here, though, but that Brain Control is going to be a kill confirm, I believe. Let me see. Let me see if that's correct. Let me see if it's correct to not target the Future Fusion. So he hit all the new sets. Obviously, the old set is the Road. He's been playing around it the entire game exceptionally well. And he's had the Soul Read, which is just goes to show that this player knows what he's fucking doing. Absolute Zero hits play. Alias gets summoned. Brain Control is a kill confirm unless Karski top decks. There's a bunch of different things he could top deck that would stop the kill confirm. 2 sparks. Miracle is bad for you. It stops the kill confirm. I think targeting the future fusion is correct. And then just understanding that your opponent has alias plus road plus an unknown back row. But I guess you're putting him on like maybe a 1 in 3 chance to top deck something that stops the brain control kill confirm. We'll see though. We'll see. Special Gale attacks for 1300. Main phase 2 make Armor Master in defense. Yep. And that's going to resolve because you do know that that's probably a Starlight Road. Okay. He did draw the Miracle. Interesting. So you can summon Absolute Zero here. You can Miracle out the other Absolute Zero using that Absolute Zero. Ooh, but this isn't going to be a kill confirm. Is it going to put him below brain control though? This is 4,400. Nah, he drops to 1,300 and then 0 over the aliases game. So yeah, that should do it. That should just about do it here. Really excellently played game from Light Angel there. If I was Karski, I would have maybe considered not using the Absolute Zero to try and force damage through. Because yeah, this is going to be a reversal. So really strong stuff from Light Angel that game. I think he navigated the matchup exceptionally well. He played around Starlight Road perfectly. He didn't activate his Mirror Force or one of his 2 Icarus attacks into the Starlight Road that was there the entire game. Just really showed a knowledge of this matchup that I would expect to see in an RBET top 4 matchup. Karski, his opening hand has that Dust Shoot. Now, Dust Shoot is one of those cards you want to leave in going first, but going second, you definitely want to side it out because this matchup can definitely come down to that like resource trade. That was such a sick game. I just want to take a moment to appreciate how sick of a game that was, that first game 1. That was fucking tight. That was honestly really sick. It's rare you see games of Yu-Gi-Oh that good. That was just really, really cool. All right. Let me look at their list again. Let's look at their list. Where is Beer's list? It's in here somewhere. I believe this is his list. Was this his list? Yeah, it is. So this is Light Angel's list here. It looks like he does have those Cyber Dragons aside, and he also does have a Snowman Eater for Hero Beat. So it looks like he came prepared for this matchup. He has my body as a shield as well to help deal with Gemini Spark. So I do quite like his sideboard for this matchup. As far as Karski goes, we already looked at what he sides against Blackwings because he's been playing it the entire tournament. So yeah, opens up with all trap cards here and a Miracle Fusion. Torrential Tribute is great here. Dust Tornado is great here. But like, how much do you commit? What is your commitment plan here? I think if you're Karski, your game plan here is probably just set Dust Shoot, set Heavy Storm, and pass the turn. That's what I would do. It looks like he's going to commit all of his own back row into his own Heavy Storm, though, which is also fine. I mean, you do risk getting blown out here by Heavy Storm. Like, absolutely back destroyed Heavy Storm. Here comes Dust Shoot. Dust Shoot can take the Shura, which is probably the best take, I'm assuming. Yep. There goes Shura. And him taking Shura kind of tells you that there's no bottomless in the back row. So if you're Light Angel, you're like, okay, what do I do? Summon Blizzard attack. That's what I would do. But he's not going to do that. He's going to play this a little bit more defensively. Set the bottomless, pass the turn. And phase Dust is going to hit the bottomless. And you're like, okay, that's tricky. Here comes Honest. Karski missing 1100 damage. Should summon the Honest, attack for 1100 and bounce it. This matchup definitely does come down to life totals. Getting that 1100 damage is the difference between winning and losing. And I think the information knowing about Honest doesn't matter nearly as much as 1100 damage will. I think that information is not worth 1100 life points. The draw is Dust Tornado for turn from Light Angel, so you're probably pretty happy about that. Just set the Dust and pass. Sticking to his game plan of just holding his Blizzy for the payoff. Here comes Deep Sea Diva off the top, and that's an excellent draw here because that's just going to be live into the back row. If you're Karski, you probably have to Heavy Storm your own back row, but let's see if he just does that. No, he's not gonna. He's just gonna Synchro here into Android. Now, last game he did a great job of playing around Deep Prison, but this game he's kind of just playing into Deep Prison with the Android. I think, again, he still should have attacked with both first. There's no reason to use your Android here into a Deep Prison. There's no reason to not get that damage in. Once again, in my opinion, yes, you're getting 100 extra damage if the back row isn't real or if it's the Icarus attack that you know about, but if it isn't that, then I don't know. I think just attacking with the end phase gain 600. My body as a shield is an insane draw here. But that being said, Light Angel is still very far behind to this Android. Yeah, this is just going to be tough for him. I think he has to set Sirocco, set Icarus, Either that or he has to special Cyber Dragon normal Blizzard and try to make Armor Master. I think Armor Master, my body as a shield, is really strong. So I think we're going to go Armor Master here. I think that's the game plan. Dust Tornado, hitting that Torrential Tribute, special normal, and we are going to make Armor Master. So I think he did recognize the right play here, and he's going to run over that Android. He knows about, he doesn't know about the Honest here. The Honest can keep the Android around for a turn, but it doesn't deal any damage, and there's just really no reason to do that. You just let the Android die. He's going to Honest to keep the Android around. I don't like that play. I think that play is bad. Now, I think Light Angel is going to set his My Body as a shield. He is going to get owned by this Heavy Storm here. He's not. Oh my god, he's the GOAT. He's actually the GOAT. This guy's crazy. This guy's really good. Solemn Judgment, glued to Karski's hand. There hasn't been a single game in top 8 he hasn't drawn this card. That's crazy. I wish I could draw like this. Anyway, he just bled the Honest for nothing. Sets Hero Blast. Sets nothing. Just passes the turn. Here comes Armor Master. Puts the Android to 0 attack. Wow. He forgot about the wedge. Dude, my chat would be going crazy right now if they watch this game live. He forgot about the wedge. Armor Master putting Android to 0, running it over, dealing 2,500 damage. And now he has Pulling the Rug as well to stop a Stratos potentially. That being said, that Heavy Storm is looming, that Miracle Fusion is looming, and there's just a lot of stuff looming here. I think setting Hero Blast here is just so weird. It's just, why are you setting the Hero Blast? It's not live. It's not going to be live, and you're going to be forced to Heavy Storm it later. It just doesn't make any sense. We finally find the hero, and now it's like, okay, we have the alias. What do we do? Do we set it? What is the plan here? What is the move? And the answer is just Heavy Storm Miracle, which, sure, it works. I don't know. It's a weird circumstance, to say the least. Set Solemn Judgment past the turn. Draw a Cyber Dragon. Now, if you're Light Angel, you can't My Body as a shield in a damage step, despite it saying negate the activation. In Edison format, it is ruled that you cannot use this card in the damage step. So if he attacks over Absolute 0, he can't use My Body as a shield. And I'm sure a player of his caliber knows that ruling. But that being said, you don't really have a great option here. You kind of just have to attack the Armor Master over the Absolute 0. That was one of the worst sequences of turns I've ever seen. The Heavy Storming the own Hero Blast, wasting the Honest on the Android, leaving the Android in attack position, setting the Hero Blast into your own Heavy Storm, using Miracle Fusion to banish the alias that could have bought you even an extra turn there to find a Gemini Spark or something like that. Just a really, really poor sequence of turns, and Light Angel is like very far ahead here. Now, that being said, he doesn't have an out to a follow-up Miracle, and there's a Solemn Judgment, so if he top decks a second Miracle, he's still winning, which is fucking crazy, but that's that. Bottomless Trap Hole, very good draw for him, very good against Blackwings. Fossil Dyna. Say less. I'm probably not summoning it, though. I'm probably just waiting. It's an out to Absolute 0 that doesn't play into Solemn, so I just wait on this. Oh, no. Light Angel, no. Dude, he played the match so perfectly, and he summons the Dyna. Dude. Now, I mentioned earlier, damage does matter in this matchup. The Honest attacking, the Honest bouncing. 1,100 damage is better than the information. Right? In this instance, 1,200 damage is not worth an exposed Dyna. It's not. It is not worth an exposed Dyna. This is a removal spell. It outs the card you lose to, Miracle Fusion. Do not summon this Dyna. Do not waste this card. This card is too high value. Oh, this is such a bad play. This is such a bad play. He does draw the Miracle, so the Dyna being in play is stopping the Miracle from happening. But that being said, he would have Miracled hit for 25, and then the Dyna would have been set, and then it would have been like, okay, you lose your Absolute 0, and now I still have the initiative. That being said, here comes Black Whirlwind. Attacks for 1,200. Can he fade another monster turn? Let's see. Brain Control. Okay, one more turn faded. 2 Black Whirlwinds here is very nice. It's very, very nice. Attack for 1200 again? No. What are you doing? What are you doing? I guess he figures he has my body as a shield for the bottomless trap hole, but this is going to fall apart. This is going to fall apart. What if he has another bottomless? What if he has double bottomless? You haven't seen bottomless thus far. Oh, this is so seeing red. This is seeing red. He had to confirm he had this game in the bag. He played around everything this entire game. Here comes my body as a shield. Here comes Solemn Judgment. And now that Miracle Fusion. Oh, with the Diva off the top to make it lethal. Very unfortunate game for Light Angel. Very unfortunate game. I think him getting too aggressive with that Dyna there cost him a lot. I think that cost him the match for sure. That was... Not the match, sorry, the game. I don't know who wins this. We shall see. All right. Let's see. This has been a tense match. I'm not gonna lie, this has been a tense match. Opening hand from Light Angel, kind of weak. He does have Gale. Gale's really good in this matchup, but the rest of this is not very good. I think you're looking at just... Set bottomless pass. Yeah, he figured it out, yeah. Probably just misclicked there. Gemini Spark, Hero Blast. Once again, no conversion for those quite yet, but Diva into Android can happen after Dust Tornado clears the back row. So we just set Dust, set bottomless pass. Yeah, okay. On Light Angel's side, he picks up Bora the Spear. That's a huge card here for him. That being said, he can't really afford to play it into a bottomless, or can he? I think if you're Light Angel, to get your Icarus attack live, I'd probably go normal Blizzard attack. But maybe that's crazy. I think people are way too greedy with their Blizzards. But he's probably just going to normal the Bora. Oh, I didn't even think of this play. Set Bora, set 2. Let's see if the Dust Tornado can snipe. Electing not to go for it. He's going to hold the Dust Tornado. That's going to pay off well for him because he's got Future Fusion. He's going to go Future Fusion, Chain Royal Oppression, Chain Dust Tornado. Okay, Future Fusion now hits the field. Reveals Absolute Zero. Chain Icarus hit both. Ooh, playing around Starlight Road a little bit too much here. But I guess he can always Icarus it at a later date. He doesn't need to Icarus it right now. And he can wait for something else to be committed. Here comes Deep Sea Diva. Summons out the Gilman. Bottomless on the Gilman. That makes sense. Diva attacks. It is a set Bora. So he's going to take 600 damage here. And here he's going to set Hero Blast, set Gemini Spark. End phase, you have to go for this Icarus. Crazy. Plays around Road, wins him game 1. Doesn't play around Road, loses him game 3, I'm assuming. Just because of the nature of these sets now, I think it's going to be very, very difficult for him to come back. That being said, the Icarus is technically still alive. He's going to go ahead and attack that Diva, I'm assuming. Here comes the Hero Blast, and then here comes the Icarus attack. Bora is going to target back row, back row. Okay, so he's going to get a 2 for 2, but he's going to hit 2 back row here. That call has no good chainable targets. So he isn't going to... He's going to say, okay, fuck it. If he has Road, I need to proc the Road now so I can use his Force. And it looks like there's no Road. So now he has the read on the last back row. Here comes Set Force Pass. He didn't normal summon this turn. I don't know. Why didn't we normal summon? I guess we wanted to play around Spark. Okay, no, that's a fair play. Wanted to play around Spark. Here comes Alias. I was gonna say like he could make Bryonic here if he wanted to, but he's just gonna attack with both. I would have Mirror Force this. Yeah, I would have Mirror Force this because like you Mirror Force this, right? Next turn he can just Bryonic, bounce your Mirror Force. I would have Mirror Force this for sure. Yeah, I don't really like this. Here comes Sirocco. Here comes Gale. Pass priority on the Gale. Smart play from Light Angel. Here comes Spark. Hit the Sirocco. Draws into Honest. Very good draw. But now what? Now what? You have the Diva. You attack it. You deal 1,200. Absolute Zero comes out. You're forced to Mirror Force that. You lose your Gale. He summons Alias main too. Not a great situation to be in. I think like the position here could have been capitalized on by Light Angel a lot more if he had end phased that Icarus. And then again, this Blizzard's just kind of rotting. Like, what are you waiting for with it? He had a lot of opportunities to use it to press his position and just never really happened. I understand holding cards and like trying to find the right opportunities, like the safest opportunities to stick them, but I think in games like this, sometimes you have to take a little bit of a risk. Here comes Absolute Zero attacking the Gale. Here comes Mirror Force. I'm not sure I like this. I think spending the Kalut is actually probably better than spending the Mirror Force. Because the Mirror Force can out an additional Absolute Zero plus an Alias, whereas the Kalut can't out those two cards. Mirror Force has higher value than Kalut here in this hand. I think this is a worse play to go for this. Yeah, I think it's absolutely keep Mirror Force here and spend Kalut. But here it is. Sets that Torrential, summons Alias. Here comes summon Blizzy. And now he's going for the Blizzy. I mean, you're at 5,100. I don't know if this risk is necessary. Into the back row, you can probably just set Dust Tornado and wait a turn, but I'm not sure. I think this is probably the worst opportunity he had to use Blizzard this entire game. Because now it's into a back row, you know. Here comes Goyo Guardian. That's going to attack this. This is going to lose the Honest. He's going to take 1,100. The Goyo Guardian should be in the grave here, but I don't think it's going to matter too much. Set Dust Tornado. There's Deep Sea Diva, which should be game. Dust that. What? Did he side out a Gilman? Did he side out a... Huh? Isn't... Hold up. Let me do some math here. Diva... Make Goyo... Summon Diva, so... He has one more Diva left. Let's say he sided out a Gilman. Let's say he sided out a Gilman and a Diva, even. Okay, then it's not game. But you still want to summon the Diva and make Goyo so you put him below brain control range. But if there is a Diva, you go summon Diva... Special Diva, Synchro into Goyo, that puts you up to 3 Warriors in grave. Synchro into Colossal Fighter, that's 3,200 Colossal Fighter because Goyo's the 4th Warrior. Actually, no, Alias is Goyo's the 5th Warrior. You don't even need to Synchro into Goyo. Yeah, once you see the Dust Tornado in the draw phase, I mean, you just have game. Here comes Sirocco, that's going to attack over the Alias. Here comes Diva. Diva summons. He did have the Gilman. I guess he just didn't go for it last game. Was that an end phase Dust Tornado? I might have missed it. He might not have used the Dust Tornado till the end phase. Let me go back to that. I think I was just fast forwarding and I might have missed it. It might have been an end phase Dust Tornado. That would make sense as to why. No. He Dust Tornadoed in main phase 1. Yeah, no. I definitely didn't miss it right. He definitely had game. Summon Diva and go into Colossal and then just attack for 3,300. I mean, it's not going to end up mattering because Karski is going to take it here with the Honest. And Light Angel is going to say lol. I think this game is definitely one for review. I think this match, Light Angel had a lot of opportunities to play passively, not play passively. I think game 1, he played expertly. I think game 2, he got trigger happy. And then game 3, he wasn't trigger happy enough. So it's like, it's really hard to tell when it's the right opportunity to do that. And that's just something that like experience in certain matchups and experience in the game is going to help you with. But I think especially in game 2, recognizing that the only way he was losing that game was a top deck miracle and saving his Fossil Dyna as an out to that top deck miracle was probably his best chance at winning that game. As it stands, he died with that like Cyber Dragon in his hand. He died with like not getting value out of all of his cards. He died like not sequencing his cards in the best way to position himself to win a game, in my opinion. So yeah, game 2 particularly, I think he needs to review. Game 3, I don't know. There was definitely a lot of moments where it could have been better. I would have to watch this game at least one more time to get like an accurate read on stuff. There were definitely multiple opportunities where he could have just like committed a little bit earlier, a little bit more aggressively, and probably just like secured a tighter position earlier on, or forced a situation where Karski had to top deck something to even be in the game. He just played around too much, I think, in game 3. But yeah. Let's go on to the finals. We've got Karski versus the winner of the last match, which was GGBO, which once again, 3 Blackwings. So Kozarski's probably feeling really fucking good about this. He's probably like, let's go, baby. 3 of the best matchup for my deck. The only 3 Blackwings in top 8, and he gets all 3 of them in a row, which is just very, very good feeling. He loses a die roll, though. But that being said, double Sirocco, Dark Armed in the opening hand. You have a very inactive hand here. Bora's the worst of the monsters you could have. But Shura's a good draw. You can summon the Shura and pass here pretty safely. Opening hand is the nuts from Kozarski because you have Future Fusion Stratos. It doesn't get better than that. Plus Hero Blast. Like, this is just the nuts. You get a Rhoda for Stratos, Stratos Search for Alias, set Hero Blast. The only thing you could ask for more than this is, like, literally Starlight Road or Miracle Fusion. And everything, or Solemn. Like, literally, like, this is the nuts. He is, what the fuck are you attacking for? What? Why are we throwing away the nuts, bro? Why are we throwing away the nuts? He's just going to collude you and get it. You have a Hero Blast, my brother in Christ. Just Hero Blast the Shura, dude. It is so free. It is so fucking free. Yeah. But you do get the collude out of the hand. Yeah, that's a value in play. And now all of a sudden your nut hand, little shaky. Still got some good stuff. Still going to set 2 pass. Heavy Storm here is pretty fucking good if it was in the hand. And you notice GGBO did not set any back row. So if you are Kozarski, you have to predict that Heavy Storm is down there. I said down there, but I mean up there in his hand. Like, because he set no back row. Like, that's what I would predict at least. Heavy Storm is a solid 2-for-1 here. Very, very solid 2-for-1. You already got your 2-for-1 with the collude over the Stratos. So, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know about this situation. I think if you're GGBO, you just go Black Whirlwind, summon Bora. No, you Synchro first. What do you make? Android? Yeah, that gets bottomless. Play around the Torrential. And now Dark Arm comes down. Dude fumbled the nuts. That's insane to me. That's insane to me. Blows up the Future Fusion. Blows up the Hero Blast. Chain Hero Blast, add back Alias. Now Black Whirlwind, summon... What? What? Huh? Am I fucking missing something? No, I am missing something. Yeah, he has game. He has game. Yeah, if he tributes to Sirocco, he has game. He searches Gale. I forgot the Gale wasn't used. I was like, wait, why are we not summoning the Bora? But then I'm like, oh, wait. Tribute summon Dark Armed, you get Gale, you Synchro, you special Gale, you special Bora, you Synchro, you Value, and then you win. Yeah, so no, he has lethal here. Never mind, don't listen to me. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Clearly, I'm not the one in the finals here. GGBO is. Special, Synchro, Value. Dude fumbled the nuts. That's crazy. Dude fumbled the nuts. Oh, that's... Why did you attack the Shura, my brother in Christ? If he doesn't have Heavy Storm, then he has all of the other shit. Collude, Dark Arm, Blizzard, all the stuff that goes in his hand that he wouldn't set behind Shura turn 1. Oh my gosh. What a fumble. In the finals, too. Because Archie said that escalated quickly. Yeah. It's all it takes is one mistake versus Blackwings. And there you go. And this hand is far from the nuts. But he is going first. He does have the Kozarski special, Solemn Judgment. I do believe he's drawn it in every game except for the last one. The one game he didn't draw Solemn Judgment. He got absolutely ass blasted. But yeah, no, this should be a decent hand versus Blackwings. Not insane. But if you look at GGBO's hand, his hand is a little bit sloppy. Not sloppy, but just like, it's a little bit weird. It's a little bit awkward. Like, you do have the Cyber Dragon Blizzy play, which is always nice to make Black Rose Dragon. You have Icarus attack to help play into the back row as well as Dust Tornado. So he's going to have not too hard of a time playing into these 4 back row, I think, with his hand. I do like GGBO's hand here a little bit better. Let's see how he decides to sequence things. This is just going to be a set 4, summon Gilman pass. There is Sure the Blue Flame. So now if you're GGBO, the obvious play is summon Sure, right? That's the 1-head play, right? The 4-head play is special Cyber Dragon, right? And then the 5-head play is do none of that and just set Icarus, Dust Tornado, and pass. You're going to take 1700, but like, who cares? He obviously doesn't have Stratos, he doesn't have Alias, or else those would have been summoned. So you're not going to take that much more beyond 1700 this turn. So you're going to take 1700 next turn, and then they pass back to you, and then you can Dust Tornado into his back row, you can Icarus into his back row, and then you can make sure and stick one of your threats. So I think the 5-head play, the correct play, is just set 2 pass. He went for the 4-head play, which is special Cyber Dragon attack. This play isn't bad, but like you're losing a high value threat in a matchup into a back row. It's not the worst to trade Cyber Dragon for a back row, but it's also not the best because you could very easily clear those 4 back row in other ways. So yeah, I don't really like it. And also another thing to consider is that Cyber Dragon's actually a conversion for brain control. So it gives your brain control a tribute summon, basically, which is definitely something that you have to consider in this matchup. Because sometimes you can brain control an absolute 0 and it's like you just don't have a way to convert it. I think saving Cyber Dragon here, using your cards that guaranteedly trade for the back row to like try and clear stuff. Now it's like, are you just praying to hit the road with Dust Tornado? I don't really know what the plan is. Yeah. This was definitely the 4-head play. I think the 5-head play was set to pass. He top decks the Alias, which is great for him. Attacks for 17, attacks for 1900. And yeah, huge damage coming across from from Karski to GGBO. And this is another reason I really like Compulsory in Karski's deck. Imagine he has Compulsory here. You just Compulsory the normal summon, and then you win the game next turn with your damage. That's it. That's all it takes. That being said, he doesn't have Compulsory, but he does have Solemn, so that's pretty fucking good. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, here comes the normal summon. Here comes Solemn Judgment. No. Wow, we're not Solemning the normal summon. That's... Okay. Well, you know what's happening here is he's going to attack over your... He's going to attack over your Gilman, right? Like, that's... Dude, I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. He's going to blind Dust Tornado, hit the Space Typhoon. The Space Typhoon's going to chain hit the Icarus, and he's going to get trigger happy and activate the Icarus. And he's going to lose to Road. No, he's actually making the right play and attacking. Okay. Very smart move. Very smart move. Going to get the Shura activation, get the value out of deck. Yeah, you have to Solemn that Shura there. If you Solemn the Shura, you win the game. You literally Solemn the Shura, and then... Yeah, you could even blind Typhoon one of the back row at that point, and then summon your monster, and then have Starlight Road for any sweeper, and just, you have lethal. This is a huge missed opportunity for Karski. That being said, he has the initiative. Not the initiative, but he has the advantage. But if you just Solemn the Shura there, you win. Like, straight up. I don't... This is so tough. Not even going to Solemn the brain control. What is the Solemn there for? What is the point of the Solemn? Guess we're going to make Android. So... One thing he could have done here was Icarus, sacrificed the Shura, targeted some of the back row. But I don't know. I don't know why he hasn't used his Dust Tornado yet either. I really don't know. Anyway, Amphase's going to gain 600. And what was a 1 game for Karski is now a terrible position for Karski. Draw for turn is Future Fusion. Future Fusion is going to be activated. There's Dust Tornado. Let's see if there's a Solemn Judgment. No, we can't really afford to Solemn Judgment now because you're losing on board. Set the Ocean? No, you can't afford to do that because of the Shura. Heavy Storm? Are we playing that? I don't think so. You've played into the back row freely thus far. You've got to know it's Road plus X plus whatever. I think the answer here is just attack with both. What are we doing, dude? He didn't stop anything last turn. He didn't stop your summon. He didn't stop your attack. He didn't stop... Why? My brother in Christ. Why are we doing this? I guess it doesn't matter because you probably win this turn anyway due to the... Hold up. Let me calculate this real quick. If you go Heavy Storm, they go Starlight Road, you chain Icarus attack, sacrifice Shura, Shura target both back row, Blizzy, bring back Shura, Synchro into Bryonic, pitch Sirocco, bounce. You don't have anything to bounce. So you go Goyo? I don't think there's a reason to activate this Heavy Storm this turn. I think it's just attack with both. Very clearly just attack with both. Because I don't think you can win the game this turn by doing this. Unless he Solemns. No, he's not going to Solemn, obviously. Here comes the Stardust Dragon. Here comes Blizzy. Bring out the Shura. Synchro into... What? That can't be right. Why are we spending a full threat to make another? That doesn't make any sense. What is... Dude, make Goyo Guardian. Just run over the Stardust. Attack for 24. Gain 600. This position loses to a single miracle. I mean, the position lost to a single miracle anyway, but... Make Goyo Guardian, or make Bryonic, bounce the Stardust, put the Sirocco plus value in the grave, deal 8 million. I do not like this play. This play gets across A, this play gets across no damage. B, it gives them at least 2 turns to come out of this. It doesn't put the Sirocco in the grave. It doesn't set you up. Terrible play. It basically leaves you with -1 threat. You just -1'd yourself for no reason. Draws Dust Tornado. Yeah, like, now you lose the Shura for nothing. Like, this shouldn't have been a game. This should have been GGBO crushing. I don't understand this at all. Draws Dust Tornado. You just run it over. You have to set Dust. End phase Dust trades with Dust. Here comes Stratos Search, but that's not good enough. This Sirocco's just rotting in hand. Dude, at least sack the Armor Master for Sirocco and then make Silverwind and, like, start pressing. Like, at least do something that way, you know what I mean? Like, dude, he's going to lose to a top deck Miracle. Okay, there's a Dusty. Draw, pass. Now do the play at least. Now, please. Tribute for Sirocco. Press your advantage. Oh my gosh. Dust Shoot, not going to do anything. Now do it, maybe? Set Whirlwind at least to play around Dust Shoot, right? I mean, it is game 3. He shouldn't technically have Dust Shoot. Bora off the top. Here comes the Dust Shoot. Takes the Bora. Now we're going for it. Chain Dust Tornado. Why are we not making Silverwind? I guess... No, there's just no reason not to. What? I don't understand this game. Make Silverwind now, please. Huh? Yes, sure. Legacy, okay. I draw Mirror Force. Mirror Force is a great draw. Special Summon Bora. There's Bottomless. There's the Silverwind. Okay. What a match. What a match. And GGBO is going to take it over Karski. Damn. That was a crazy game. A lot of stuff happening. A lot to cook with. I don't know if you guys liked this delivery of the top 8 and the top 8 deck lists. I hope you guys did. I hope you guys watched it all the way to the end. I actually thought Karski was going to win this. I actually thought he was going to win this match. I didn't know who won. I'm genuinely shocked. He got the dream bracket. He was literally handed the nuts multiple times. He basically missed lethal by not Solemning the Shura. Basically missed lethal by not doing that. He punted the nuts game 1. Like, absolutely thrown match, in my opinion. But, you know, you live and you learn. Sometimes you make it to the finals and then the nerves get to you, or maybe you slept on the wrong side of the bed. Maybe you had a busy day at work. Who knows? There's a million reasons why you could win or lose a game, or you could make mistakes in a game. And just goes to show that, again, like I said at the beginning of this video, it doesn't matter about the matchup. It doesn't matter about the deck. What matters is how well you're playing, even towards the finals of a really big Edison tournament. Thank you guys for everything this season. I hope to see you at RBET Orlando. I'm very excited to see what wins. Blackwings taking another tournament. I'm actually surprised. Not that surprised. I knew that Hero Beat didn't have what it takes. You know what I'm saying? No, you meme on the decks. You know, you meme on the decks you don't like, and that's Edison format. But ultimately, it comes down to the players. You could top 8 with Roids if you want to. You can top 8 with Rescue Cat. Everything is possible. Believe in yourself. See you guys in the next one. Smash like, subscribe. Peace.